Before we start the video, I would just like to give you a heads up to have something to write with and a piece of paper, or you can be prepared to screenshot, whichever works best for you, because I'm citing many follow-up pieces, documentary videos, and things like that, that it is so important that you go and watch those pieces. They are really some of the best work, and you will be most enriched and impressed. This is a labor of love, everybody. All of my work is. My work is born out of my passion and my disdain for injustice and unrighteousness. That's my Achilles heel. That's it. And it is out of that passion that I have dedicated 2 days of my life producing this presentation for you. While it comes in at just over 3.5 hours, I can tell you the production time is more than that. It's 2 days. But it's worth it. It's worth it. It must be done. I must use the talents that the divine has given me to do exactly this. I believe that I have a voice that is unique, and therefore I have a responsibility to use that voice for good on the earth. I'd also like to say thank you and welcome to all of the new subscribers, not only to this channel, but also to our other channel, Jedi Africa, and to remind my people who have not migrated to Jedi Africa to do so. I also want to say thank you to donors to our ongoing campaign to raise money for our Sanchamba Mosque in Lemon Village, Gambia, in West Africa. Most of our donations have been on the Cash App. That information is on the screen for you now. I implore, I ask, I beg for everyone under the sound of my voice to go and donate something, either to the GoFundMe, which is, the link is underneath this video, and indeed every production that I present, the link for the GoFundMe is always there. You can use that. You can donate on the Cash App, and I'm also pleased to announce, because it never occurred to me, you can also donate on Zelle, everybody. And so if you're someone who would like to donate on Zelle, you can articulate that to me, and I will give you the information that you need in order to donate on Zelle. You don't need to be wealthy. We are wealthy in numbers, not as individuals. So everyone give what is in your power. There's no judgment. There's no judgment. And each donation is appreciated with the same vigor and the same appreciation. One is not more appreciated than the other. It doesn't matter the dollar amount. What matters is the act and the intention, the selflessness, but most importantly, a show of unity. So do go and donate what you can, everybody. Also, don't forget to thumbs up the video. You can do that now, because in order for us to have the reach that we need, in order to have as much of humanity to hear and see this information, that lies with you. So exercise your power anytime that you have it, and certainly on this. So be sure to thumbs up the video. I thank you in advance. I'll see you soon. What's up, everybody? This is the Jedi. I first want to say to you that no one, no Muslim in this country, the nearly 4 million Muslims in America, will not be voting for Joe Biden. Know that. So therefore, he will not win Michigan. That's one. There's a couple other states that he will definitely not be winning, but he will not be winning and he will not be president. No Muslim and no Orthodox Jew will support him. All right? That's first. Second, I want to say to you, every one of us has a responsibility to speak up, speak out, be loud, and represent. You cannot sit back in this urgent time of the Holocaust. The Holocaust. What these reported people who follow Judaism claim as the Holocaust was a Holocaust. It was 3.5 to 4 years. It was in one geographic location under one group of people, other white people, and it was over. All right? They have since atoned for that particular event. They paid reparations. They took down all of the historical markings and anything that would be associated with that event. And they made it a mandate that it is taught in the public school systems so that every citizen would be aware of that from a very young age. All right? Unlike what they've done to our continued Holocaust, which is the Holocaust. But at this moment, the Holocaust is what is happening with the slaughter, the mass murder, and the genocide of the Palestinian people, in Northeast Africa, in Gaza. So you have a responsibility, everybody, because I always remind you that this lifetime is like that, and then it will be over. You have one arced journey from the womb of your mother to the cradle of the earth. And then this life, this dunya, is over. And then the akhirah begins, the eternal afterlife, in which there will be no more death, and no more suffering, and no more evil. And I theorize little to no white people. The evildoers of this world have their punishment written in the book of eternity already. And they are written in the chapter known as eternal hellfire. And Allah says to man that each moment is like the first forever. Forever. That's important because, as the Quran describes it, this is a level of hot that we can't even produce in our existence. It's beyond that. But imagine now, when you've took a sip of some hot soup or tea or something and it burned your tongue, or you spilled something hot on you, or you touched the jet on the stove by accident, and oh my God, you burnt yourself. But it's a quick, intense pain, and then it begins to dissipate and go away. Imagine it's a gazillion times the initial pain, and that is forever. There is no subsiding. There is no comfort. It is forever. Forever. In fact, the word the Quran uses is for I. So that's first. We also must take this as a time of revelation, certainly for those who are asleep, not paying attention, those who are on the lower spectrum of intellectual sophistication and maturity, who cannot perceive concept, thought processes, and language. But even for them, this is a time of revelation. I have known since I was a child that the white man is the devil, because that's what my parents informed me. And they planted that seed so that I would be able to identify this when I got into the world. And as I began to mature and I came into adolescence and then a teenager and an adult and all that stuff, the more I moved in society and across this country, I have seen and observed their uh, uh, their consistent characteristics and their consistent character. And this has been validated for my life. And as I've said to you, just because you know a few good white people here and there, that doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything. You know, we know there's poisonous snakes out there, but most of us haven't been bit by a snake. But we all accept that a poisonous snake that a poisonous snake is dangerous. We don't play about that. We don't say, well, you know, I was never bitten by one, so they can't all be bad. All right. So we'll just throw you into the cage with the cobras and just see how you love that. You see. But we're seeing, as I digress, this is a time of revelation because we are seeing the unmasking, the unavoidable exposure of the true face of evil, the true intent of their stone cold, dark, black hearts, their soot stained souls, for which there is no humanity, there is no belief in Allah, there's no belief in the last day. Most of all, there is no fear of Allah and the last day. These people believe that they are God. This is why they've polluted the true revelation, the true instruction, the true way of life communicated to mankind through the prophets of Allah. And as we know it, without any shadow of the doubt, that the uncorrupted, spoken Kalim of Allah, the spoken word of Allah on the earth, the living, physical, breathing, speaking word of the divine, the Ahad, who gives us all life now, is the Quran, the Kitab of Allah. This is without objection. Only the ignorant need to go and learn and get up to speed and accept this truth. But I digress. So we see the true nature of these people. What we also know as African people, and why African people should be the most observant in this hour, is because it was ignorant ass black people and the DNC who eked Joe Biden into office. And we've seen everything that he's done has been antithetical and dismissive of African people. This is the author of the 94 Crime Bill, who, with a stroke of a pen and an executive order, could have done a lot of things for African people. But the intent is not there, and it never will be. He is as much of a cross-burning white devil as any of the rest of them. That's who he is. And this Kamala Harris person is nothing but a cackling whore, a cackling weed-smoking, probably coke-snorting whore, who is of no value to humanity and certainly of no value to African people in this bitch. We've seen that every U.S. president has been joined at the hip with this demonic place called Israel. There is nothing holy about their existence there. You should know that Allah has communicated to us that indeed this particular place on the earth is blessed, that it is the land of the prophets. One of our holiest sites in Islam is the Al-Aqsa Mosque that is there, the Dome of the Rock. It is one of the holiest places on earth for Muslims, and Christians and Jews. All right? But we've seen now, they have been trying to use every demonic tool to control the language and by extension the thought and the narrative of this Holocaust, this inflicting of mass murder and genocide upon the Palestinians. They have been going out of their way to condemn and to silence and to villainize anyone who gets in the way of their narrative. Well, we must walk and speak without fear, and we must know firmly in our hearts that Allah is with the righteous, that we have a moral responsibility to speak up for the oppressed and the condemned, those who are being murdered and suppressed and oppressed. We must. The Quran reminds us, says to mankind, that if you see things that are wrong, unrighteous, bad, evil, whatever, you must condemn it with your hands. If you cannot condemn it with your hands, you must condemn it with your words. If you cannot condemn it with your words, you must condemn it with your heart. I condemn this with every fiber of my entire existence. And let us be very clear that they, like all white people, who are the biggest purveyors of violence, murder, and inhumanity in existence, always want to decide where the narrative begins. You'll recall, I've taught you this over the years, pointed it out, brought you unrefutable proof of this. I cite for you, back when we were covering the murder of Mike Brown by a Zionist, Darren Wilson, which is a Zionist last name, I said to you, I pointed out other cases to lay foundation for my claim and my point and to prove my claim that I was prosecuting. And I said for you, I said, watch, they want to start with right at the truck with the struggle. That's where they will want to start. And that's exactly what happened. It's right up there with when we have videotape of something and say, well, we don't know what happened before the tape started. You see, they never want to deal with the full pathology of anything. They want to be the dictators of what section of the event we will start at. And it's usually only the portion that gives them some sort of advantage. This is no different. They want all of humanity to believe that out of nowhere, on 7th October, Hamas just jumped up and said, you know, I think this just looks like a good day to kill Israelis, and let's go for it. Well, that didn't happen. You see? Because if you wrong me, I don't got to fuck you up right then and there. I can lay in wait as long as I want to. It's still on, though. I strike at a time of my choosing. And in the case of Hamas, and as it relates to 7th October, remember, these Palestinians have been suffering from these white demons since before 1948. I'm going to be bringing you in this piece. So get ready to write or to screenshot or whatever you got to do homework for yourself. There are several critical videos and documentaries that you must watch for your own education so you can be totally up to speed on what the real truth of it is. We're going back to 1917, you understand? And before the 1940s. We're going back there. And so, certainly since before 1948, when these white devils decided to start coming into Palestine, first it was, a couple hundred here or there. But as they came, and at the beginning, when there was just a few of them, Palestinians welcomed them into their homes and treated them like royalty, the ultimate hospitality. But because the white man is the devil, they always turn on you. It doesn't matter. This is an actual attribute of these people. And that's going to be the truth whether I proclaim it or not. It's high time the rest of humanity get to this understanding and observation and then act according to that knowledge. And so they turned. And they literally put people out of their own houses and just assumed their life. As they came off the boats, they were given Palestinian citizenship without any formalities or anything. Just, you're now a Palestinian citizen. Here you go. But today, and for all the years, Palestinians can't have Israeli citizenship. They can't walk on the same roads as Israelis. They can't drive on the same roads. They can't, if there's a street where Jews walk, these Zionists walk, then they've welded the front doors shut on whole blocks of neighborhoods, and they literally have to go out their back windows and other ways to get out and climb up on roofs and everything just to get out. But they're not allowed to walk on these particular streets or drive on them. These people are the devil. You understand? They are the devil. The devil. And they have no association with anything holy. They have no connection or association with Judaism. They have no connection or association with Torah, the law. Because as I've educated you, Zionists are not Jews. And what you have in this shit stain called Israel is an illegal heist. That's all it is. I've brought you education and statements, and most recently I brought you a video. I think it's my maybe 2 videos back now, of a Orthodox Jewish rabbi who you see him saying exactly what I've said to you over the years. They denounce the state of Israel. They denounce Zionism. They denounce the flag. And they have nothing to do with that.
We have a message for this Nakba Day, for this 75 years of occupation. We want the world to know that what is being perpetrated against the Palestinian people, the oppression, the subjugation, the terrible cruelty, is not in the name of our religion. It is not in the name of the Star of David. It is not in the name of the Jewish people around the world who are true to the Jewish religion. Because we are Jewish and because we are true to our religion, we are in total opposition to the existence of the Zionist state of Israel.
They are also persecuted by these white demon terrorists. Israel is not a holy place. They're not worthy of respect. And as I contend, there are no innocents there. Because you cannot live there and not know that there are 2 million people just in Gaza that are being oppressed every single day. Bombed, attacked, shot. And you can't be there and not hear this and know about it and see it. And if you stay there, then you are an accessory to this genocide, this Holocaust, this murder. And don't be seduced by their claims of innocent women and children when it's their white ass. Because what we've seen is they don't give a damn when it's anybody that's not their white ass. We know that even here in our country. You understand? We know that. We know that. White bitch goes missing, they alert the entire world. You see? Black kid goes missing, well, they've not been missing long enough, and they try and demonize them and, criminalize them and so forth. You see? So let us not fall for that. There is to be no sympathy for this place. And we call for the end of the entire Israeli state. We call for an end to the oppression, the Holocaust, and the genocide of Palestinians. We're not here for a two-state solution. And don't buy into this. They have no other place they can go. Take your bitch ass back to where you came from, because nobody's persecuting you on the earth anywhere. You take your shit back to where you came from. And don't you know, don't fall for this. Well, it's a conflict between Muslims and Jews. That's a lie. Because when nobody was giving their evil asses refuge, it was the Muslims who have always embraced them in Arab Muslim countries and gave them, took them in and gave them, made space for them, gave them land, gave them resources, helped them to establish their lives. The history is all there for anybody who wants to go and learn it. And to this day, Orthodox Jews will tell you this. They owe a great debt to the Muslims. But these people that we're talking about are not Jews. They are demonic, white supremacist, white devil, evil demons, devil incarnate. Do you understand? The stench of humanity. The stain of existence. That's who they are. That's who they are. They don't give a damn about women and children except to kill and murder them. Because what they're actually doing is to take out the women and children, because the women can give birth to more children and the children grow up. So they're trying to kill future populations is what they're doing. They don't want a one-state solution, because the moment you allow the Palestinians in, they immediately, then these white devils immediately become a minority. You can't have a so-called Jewish state because you're the minority suddenly. You see? They don't want that. And because white people never keep their word on anything, I cite for you over 400 treaties these white demons here signed with the natives, and they broke every single one of them. You would think out of over 400, you would keep at least one agreement. No, not the white devil. Not one. Not even one. Not even one. They speak with a forked tongue, and anything they say is a lie. They have a pulse. It's a lie. Do you see? So they're not a people who can be trusted on any level. They're not capable of righteousness and truth. Not capable. Not capable. Not capable. So we must reject them. We have a moral and spiritual obligation to denounce and reject these people. So they want you to believe that this all began 7th October. No. For over 75 years, they've been murdering, slaughtering, and oppressing the Palestinians. In just 1948 alone, when it was one of the big uprisings, if you will, but then certainly when you fast forward to 1967, the year of my birth, this is when they had one of their greatest wars, and over 700,000 Palestinians were murdered and exiled from their homes, their businesses, their land, everything. There's no other way to describe an entity that would just come into your home. They never saw you, they never met you, and have the gall to say, you don't live here anymore, get out. To just literally replace you. That's why I say white people are the only people on earth that have done any of this shit. The whole idea of the atom bomb and nuclear weapons is a concoction from white people. This is the devil on the earth. This is the cause of all the strife of all humanity. These are the only people on earth who have used the atomic weapon on the Japanese, on Nagasaki and Hiroshima. These are the only people. Even in Gaza, since this began, this latest articulation of the ongoing Holocaust against the Palestinians, we know that they've used white phosphorus, which is a war crime. They want you to believe that Hamas would use women and children as human shields. They're counting on your ignorance of the character of the Muslim. That what is Islamic law? They're counting on you to not know that Muslims are serious. Christians are just as fake as a $3 bill. They don't stand for anything and anything is fine. Just tell them Jesus loves them and then just rape their ass. Nothing matters. They don't stand on any conviction, no principle. It's nothing. But they know that's not the case with Muslims. And so you would never have any Muslim using somebody innocent in a time of battle as a human shield. This would not happen. Because again, we don't live in just this life. We're living for the afterlife. So we keep that law and that tenet and those instructions from the divine. Because we really are serious about the afterlife and trying to get to paradise. And we're very clear on what Allah has communicated to mankind on what is not acceptable. And in the vast instruction and the laying out and articulation of our way of life as humanity, Allah has been very clear in the rules of engagement when it comes to war and conflict. It's very clear. Very clear. They use this as a pretext just to continue to murder and slaughter. And you should also not just be against this shit stain called Israel. You should also be against this bitch called America. Because they are just as culpable as these murderers. They're the same murderers. In fact, Iran just announced, yesterday, that at least 5,000 U.S. troops are on the ground in Gaza and helping these serpent demons. You understand? So you should have no love for this fucking place. You should absolutely be against America. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because this is just as Zionist as that fucking place. Just as Zionist. And remember, Zionists are not Jews. They're not holy. They're not connected to Judaism and they're not connected to Torah. They are just demonic atheists, really. Secular, worldly, evil white supremacists. That's all. These are the same people that don't even tell you about the many thousands of African Afro-Germans that were also part of this so-called Holocaust that happened under the rule of another white man called Hitler. Many people don't even know that there was Africans involved in that too that were victims. So I'm sure they didn't get any reparations checks and things like that like these white bastards do. You see, these people are just evil through and through. I'm very clear about that. I will not be changing on that, because the truth don't change. It remains the same. It remains the same. I want to begin because the big thing is the narrative now, and they always want you to condemn. Do you condemn Hamas? No, the correct answer is fuck no. Because I'm not going to denounce the righteous rebellion of oppressed people. I'm not condemning that. I'm celebrating it. And let us be clear. For all their alleged 5,000 rockets that were fired into Israel, do you know how many homes were hit? One. One, bitch. Yet thousands of homes have been leveled to dust in Gaza. One fucking house in Israel. One. And let us not believe their vomit that Hamas was going door to door and setting babies on fire and raping and killing. This never happened. They are articulating their evil, which is a part of their natural way of being because they are the devil. Nobody else does that. Nobody else. And they always give you rape because they're obsessed with perversion of sexuality. That's why they're the ones, white people are the ones perpetuating, transgender and gay and all that other bullshit that is against God and against the law and everything else. It's them telling you a man can be a woman just by his own pronouncing. Suddenly, he's a woman. Fuck that. Allah creates male and female in everything that he creates. That's it. You're going to believe the devil, or you're going to believe the one who created you and gives you a heartbeat in your chest right now. You pick. But choose wisely, because your eternity rides on it. You see, then I cite for you, after Katrina, after they blew up the levees to flood our people out and to bring in white people, I wish people of color were doing this to their white asses, just anywhere on the earth. I wish. But we have no history of that from any other group other than white people. But after they flooded our people out in Katrina, when they went to whatever that stadium, that dome that was there, the something dome, whatever the stadium, sports stadium was there, what they immediately started saying, we're getting reports of rapes and it immediately goes to rape. Like in the middle of a major disaster, you don't got nothing but the clothes on your back, and some people didn't even have that. You don't know where your next meal is coming from. You don't got water to drink. You don't got no food. You don't got shit going on. Rape, bitch? Really? That's a white construct. A white construct. Because their sexuality is fucked up. Because they don't really have sexuality. They just have bestiality. Animal bullshit. That's why they try to hide our real sexuality. Because real sexuality is very attractive and very alluring. You understand? Captivating even. They don't have this. They don't have it. They don't have it. But they always give you this, that there's suddenly all of this sexual perversion going on in the middle of shit that would have nothing to do with sexual perversion at all. It's just like in their movies. When they just out of nowhere, when you're watching the whole storyline and the movie's just going just fine, and all of a sudden, they got to bring in some bitch to, now there's some love story, random as fuck. Or right in the middle of gunfire or shit blowing up, the white bitch and the white dude got a kiss when they should be running or shooting or trying to save their own lives. This is the way of white people. It's important that you maintain your humanity and know what your authenticity is. What is your natural fitra? Because then you will understand you are nothing like this entity. Nothing. So stop taking what they do and have visited on the rest of humanity as that's just normal how humans are. It's not. It's not. That's why you have to stay centered and know what is your authentic note. What is that? That's your response to any and everything. That's how you do every and anything. From breathing to walking to eating to thinking to interpersonal relationships to anything. Anything. Stop taking your cues from these people. Because they have no future in the afterlife. Do you understand? They have no future. They have no future. So, and as I always have told you, if they have a pulse, they are lying. That's it. They don't even got to say anything. You be like, do they have a pulse? They have a pulse. They're lying. That's it. That right there. Right there. Right there. That's a lie. Right there. That's literally all you need. That's literally all you need. That's it. That's it. Because if we see a dead rattlesnake or a dead cobra, we go to dead cobra, but it's not dangerous because it's dead. But we know that if we even see the slightest wiggle, that damn snake is a danger to us. Hence, I say if they have a pulse, they are lying. Even a pulse. Even a pulse, they are lying. And because the Zionists do run the media and the Congress and the presidency and many organizations in this bitch, we're seeing the evidence of their reach now in this war of propaganda, the war of the mind, the war of perception. Here is one of our sheikhs in Islam who was talking about something else, but I isolated this because hear what he said. Hear what he says here. We'll hear this first.
YouTuber, and he said, look, they sent me an award of 50,000 or a sponsorship of $50,000. Yeah, the Israeli terrorists and whoever is supporting them in America. Yeah, just to what? To change the narrative in favor of the Israeli terrorists. And he said, I am not going to do that. So now many people are waking up to know who are the true terrorists.
Boom. That a young YouTuber reached out to him and said they offered me $50,000 to change the narrative. I've cited for you that I see these black conservative YouTubers being elevated. Just elevate. I know they're being paid. I know it. They're weak. And they're definitely, hear this most of all, they're definitely not Muslims. Again, the Christian has no moral foundation or conviction. You can be bought off or scared off. The Muslim comes without fear, and the Muslim is not tempted by greed. You are the ones. Do you understand? You're a danger to yourself and the rest of us. Because your moral house is not in order. Deal with it. Deal with it. So when you see these social media types online, be very aware that they are full of shit and most likely being paid. Look at their view count, juxtapose that to their subscriber count and how many videos they have. I cited for you on the Black Conservatives. There was one channel, he had something like 600,000 views on a video, and he only had like 6 videos and not enough subscribers to have that many views. Do you understand? It was clear there's something happened here. Something happened. Something happened. Something happened. So this is the same thing. So they now want to try to plant out there social media types. And I'm sure they're definitely after some of the ones that do have authentic large followings. you see, to try and spread their vomit. But you should be unswayed by that. Your moral fabric, your principles, and your convictions, and your foundational principles should never change, everybody, no matter what the situation, no matter what the fucking time of year, or the time, or the era, or the decade. It does not matter. You should be steadfast in who you are. But you got to know who you are, and you got to fix your shit. You understand? You must. You must. I don't fornicate. Put me in an orgy house of whores. It's not going to happen. Because I'm still me. Put me in a crack house. It won't matter. I'm still me. Doesn't matter where you put me. I'm still the same dude. Shit don't change. It just doesn't happen. I'm very clear about my path and what I need to be doing. It's not up for compromise. If you've not achieved that for yourself, then you need to get there. You need to get there. So you heard this now. Now, I want to revisit something I brought you before, but I didn't really have the best video on it. You'll remember after the two old bitches were released, I brought you a video where they had on the screen, the media had on the screen, I went through hell. Because they know you're not going to listen. You're just going to read that, oh, they went through it, oh my God. No, they didn't. If you shut up and listen, and you do deeper digging across many sources, you'll get the truth. And you realize she never said that at all. It was exactly the opposite. So let us hear that now. Now, I can't control the volume on this, y'all. I don't know why. I don't know. But so what? You're going to turn up your volume. That's what you're going to do. You're going to do it now. Do it now. Turn up your system volume. Your main volume. All right? And hear this. This is, it says, some call this the biggest PR disaster in Israel's history, and something else. All right, but hear this now. This is the truth of what the old bitches were saying when they were released by Hamas. By the way, remember Hamas was elected by the Palestinians with a majority over 60-something%, something like 15 or 16 years ago, because they all agreed. Because remember, they are an unarmed people. They don't have a military. They don't have weapons. Everything that happens to their life is controlled by these demonic, satanic devils. They even ration the food and control how many daily calories the Palestinians can have, because they don't want them to have enough to really subsist and be fully thriving. You understand? The devil. And beware of any and all Christian pastors licking the ass of Israel. You need to walk out of those churches and tell them to kick rocks. You understand? You need to do that. You have a responsibility to do that. Because there's no doubt in my mind that they're also getting a check to try and tell you that Israel is some holy place, and they'll make that Bible say anything. That's the other magic of Christians. They make the Bible just say any fucking thing they want it to say. When you actually read it, it doesn't say 90% of the shit that any Christian vomits out of their face. Every time I'm talking to Christians, I just had a conversation with two Christian guys. I just will say last week. I think it was last week or the weekend before last. But there they were. They were trying to convert, and until I spoke. And as predictable with any Christians I speak with, they wanted to try the white devil, because there was a white devil, and I think the other guy, I think he said his name was Darren or Daryl, and the white guy's name was Lee. The Latino guy, I'm going to call him Latino, was very receptive. You always know when you've got somebody's attention, when they stop talking and only listen to you very intently. And you can see when you watch their body language that Things are penetrating. Things are hitting marks. Curiosity is swelling, swelling, swelling, swelling, swelling. But one of the things that I said to the white devil, who was doing most of the speaking, was I would stop him every time he would pronounce something that's nowhere in the scripture. So I'd say, you can't use that. You can't use that. That's not anywhere in the scripture. So it was a learning experience even for him, because he realized he was running out of shit to say, because if he can't just stick to just the doctrine, if he has to stick to just the doctrine, then he doesn't really have shit to say. Like, you just can't pull it out of your ass, or what you think, or what you conjure. No. What does your text say? What does that say? What does it say? You see? So you can't just pull it out of your ass. You can't. You can't. But I digress. So they had this on the screen. And now hear what actually happened. All right? Go.
You go with this one?
They treated us very nicely. We were taken there and divided according to kibbutzim. There were people there who took care of all the needs. We can say that to their credit. And they made sure that we will be clean and eat.
They told them that they are Muslims and they're not going to hurt them, and that they ate the same food that the Hamas was eating.
They gave us pita bread and hard cheese and some low-fat cream cheese, and and a cucumber. That was our food for the entire day. And they took care of all the needs that women need: shampoo, conditioner. And if there are women here who know what feminine hygiene is, then
And if there's women who know what feminine hygiene is, they made sure
make sure that we get everything
that we got everything we needed.
we needed.
And then it repeats. You see? But then you heard the daughter say, in addition to the translator, you heard the daughter say, they said, we are Muslims and we're not going to hurt you. You see? Because you can't say that anybody is an extremist on anything. You tell me somebody, oh my God, don't even go out there on the ice. She's an extreme ice skater, or an extreme sprinter, or an extreme anything. That means that person is by the fucking book. You can't get them to swerve for shit. You see? So, if someone is an extremist or fanatic, that means they cross every T and dot every I. That's the definition. But then they define what the foundation is. And they depend on your ignorance to then go for it. You can't have Islamic terrorism. Those two things literally can't go together. You can't have that. When literally most of the terrorism being committed across the earth against all humanity is by white fucking Christians. So Christianity is the religion of terror. Let me just read what Jesus said. Let me see. Let me pull this up. Where in the Bible Jesus said he did not come to establish peace?
Matthew chapter 10 verse 34.
There it is.
According to Peace Catalyst International, Jesus said, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God."
Right.
And, "I did not come to bring peace, but a sword."
See, I did not come to bring peace. Jesus said, I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. How do peacemakers understand and apply this verse? Jesus said, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Matthew 5:9. And, quote, I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. Then Matthew 10:34 through 36 goes even further. Well, first it begins, it says, do not think that I have come to bring peace to the earth. I have not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I have come to set a man against his father, and a daughter against his mother, against her mother, I'm sorry, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law, and one's foes will be members of one's own household. This is Matthew 10:34 through 36. Christians, get out your scripture and open it and read it. So, why is Christianity so violent? Just not understanding. Just not understanding. Not understanding. That's, again, Matthew 10, verses 34 through 36. I'll just read it again. Quote, "Do not think that I have come to bring peace to the earth. I have not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I have come to set a man against his father, and a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law, and one's foes will be members of one's own household." Read it and weep. You see? So, that's nowhere in the Quran. You see? So when they want to say Islam is the religion, why is Islam so violent? No, bitch. Why is Christianity so violent? Why? Why? Why? Why? Now, so those first two pieces now, the bastards trying to control the narrative by trying to pay the YouTuber $50,000, because remember, they own the banks, they own the media, and they have all the money. These Zionist fucks. All right? So let me now cite for you first several pieces that you need to go and watch, and then I've got some pieces I want to actually show you. This one is from Al Jazeera, English. It's called "The Day Israel Attacked America." All right? This was, I think it was June 7th, something like that, 1967. This is the documentary about the USS Liberty, which was a naval ship. It was a spy ship. It was in international waters in the Middle Eastern region, if you will. And one of its distinctions was it was a newer ship, highly advanced, state-of-the-art for its era. But it also flew one of the largest American flags ever stitched in the history of stitching a flag. The thing was massive. Like you could see it for miles. Just the flag alone, you could see it for miles. But this was the same time when the stinking Zionists were breaking a peace accord and were aggressing and first striking upon the Palestinians, and I think at that time it was also Jordan and Egypt. And they were trying to do it covertly. So they thought that this ship had picked up that they were the ones who provoked. So they identified it. They have the recordings. This documentary does a very good job of going back and getting the old recordings and everything. You need to watch this. If you're someone who is intellectually curious and interested in educating yourself, then you will go and watch this. If you're a piece of crap and you just one of these hearsay people, you don't give a damn, then you should just die the fuck off. Because you're a dead weight upon humanity. And you're not living up to your human and moral and spiritual responsibility. You are not. You are not. You are not. So they had identified that it was American. We have the radio transmissions in the original radio transmissions in the documentary. And then they fired on it. And they were trying to sink it. By the will of Allah, it did not sink. And while they killed most of the crew, everybody didn't die. And when they towed it back, they towed it to another country, patched it up, repainted it in a day, tried to make it look like nothing happened, silenced the media, because remember, the Zionists run the fucking media, And by the time they got back to America and their families were there waiting for to arrive and everything, it looked like damn near almost nothing had really happened. They suppressed the events, gave it immediate blackout. Even some of the top officers who were given medals of honor were given them in private and told never to speak about how they got the medals. It's very thorough. You need to go and watch that. All right? You need to go and watch that. That's one. You also need to go and watch What Killed Arafat. This was Yasser Arafat, Rahim of Allah. He is a shaheed, a martyr. He was poisoned. Al Jazeera English did a fantastic job of proving that he was assassinated by a poison called polonium that you can only get from nuclear, like nuclear reactors and nuclear plants. So you have to be somebody at that level to even access it. You have to. It's in two parts. The first is called What Killed Arafat, and then the second part is killing Arafat. Because they don't even identify this as part one or part two, but you go, wait, that's not, where's the rest of it? So I do some searching, so you definitely want to make sure you get this other one called Killing Arafat, because that's the second and end part. You have to see that. If you don't watch that, you'll be mad you watched the first part. You see? So you got to watch this one, and then you got to watch this one over here also. But I'm giving you the names of them, so if it's not there when you search this first one, then you know which the next one you need to type in. All right. The first one is nearly an hour, and then the second one is 47 plus minutes. All right. That way you'll know you're on the right track when you see the timestamps of how long the videos are. You'll know that part one is longer than part two, and blah blah blah. This is very detailed, and it's really something. And this iconic scarf that he wore is what you see many Palestinians wearing. You see a lot of people now wearing it across the earth, really, in different protests and so forth. Mine is not the exact pattern, but the one I have is very close to this. And the only reason why I own that scarf for many, many years is because every time I wear it, I want any of my Palestinian brothers and sisters to know that I'm acknowledging and giving nod to the Palestinians. That's why I wear it. I have many scarves, but that is the main reason why I wear that one. All right. This is Yasser Arafat, who was the leader of the Palestinian Liberation Organization. All right. They were also another political arm to try to help to establish peace between these Zionist fucking people, which there'll never be peace, because I was going to say earlier that if you have a two-state solution, white people always pick until you just knock them the fuck out or kill them off. So they will never, ever allow the Palestinians just be left alone. We have that same history with their white ass here. We go and build our own towns, have our own shit, not even worried about their white ass, and here the fuck they come to massacre and kill off and go door by door, killing us and threatening us and burning us off our land and everything. This is the history of white people. This is who they are. We need to be very clear, because one of the problems of humanity is taking all of our narratives and cues from the very fucking people that are fucking up life for all of humanity. All of it. All of it. Fucking up Allah's creation. You understand? Polluting and demonizing and infiltrating everything that Allah has created. You can't even get water from the heavens without them fucking it up. These people need to go. They need to go. But I digress. So, but Hamas came to be because we will call him Dr. King, and we will call Hamas Malcolm X and the Black Panther. Because Peace is not the way when you're dealing with white people. They tell you that when that's exactly not what they incline to. So anytime you deal with the ass, it's fine to have a peace strategy, but you need to also have a fucking violence and all out bring it to their ass strategy as well on the back seat, ready. So they were sick and tired, as they are today, and as they were on 7th October, of the ongoing shit from these people. Palestinians are killed every single day. You understand? Not just 7th October. They're killed every single day. So any day that they were going to choose to strike, they were justified. They were justified. So there'll be no denouncing Hamas. Not from me. You understand? There'll be none of that. There'll be none of that. You remember that they wanted Obama to denounce and reject Louis Farrakhan when he was first running for president. Because if you're just associated with them, then you're bad too. Well, he sat in Reverend Wright's church for several years, and when he was 8 years old, some Bill Ayers guy blew up, the Weather Underground blew up something. They were political protesters. Obama was literally 8 years old, and they were trying to tie him to that. But they wanted to decide for you when you should decide, when you should start judging their white asses. When they're guilty from the very beginning of their existence, from wherever the fuck they came from. Born guilty, born evil, born violent, born. And we know this because there's never been a change in their behavior. So when something doesn't change, we know that's natural. It's literally just an actual part of whatever that is. They're the same fucking people. The same devil that any other generation or civilization encountered with these fucking people is the same one today. The same one. The same one. So, so Hamas was necessary because they were like, we can't just be going back and forth these fucking peace accords, and every time we do this shit, we're losing more and more of Palestine. They encroach on more and more land, and we can't continue to have our women and our children and our men just being murdered off every day. So we're going to have to do some shit. What I also love about the Al Jazeera documentary is I like to watch anything that doesn't edit the violence out. Like, don't be like, ooh, warnings and shit and ooh, blurring shit out. Let me see it all. Because that's where the truth is. That's where it's at. Death is real. So you need to be able to see that. Don't give me, I'm squeamish, I don't like to look at stuff, because your bitch ass is going to be a corpse one day too. So you need to see a preview of that. So when you had suicide bombers going in and taking out hundreds of people on buses and in cafes and things like that in Israel, Allahu Akbar, these are the shaheed. These are the martyrs. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. You see? Because literally, the Palestinians are so restricted in everything they do, they got to look over a wall through gates and barbed wire to see you just chilling and shit. When there's checkpoints all throughout their fucking neighborhoods and everything else. Literally, they walk out of their house. There's one dude, his front door is right at a checkpoint. They know that's his house. They know him and his family and everything else. But these bitch-ass soldiers, as soon as he comes out, he's got to show his ID and be checked and all the shit at his very front door of his house. Fuck these people. And their lineage and their progeny till the end of existence. Till the end of existence. We curse them. We curse them. We curse them. Their very existence, we curse. May Allah be glorified. Now, so Hamas was necessary. Because if it wasn't for this white devil, there never would have been apartheid in South Africa. You never would have had Mandela. You understand? If this white devil didn't exist, there would have been no need for Dr. King. If this white devil didn't exist, there'd be no need for Gandhi or anybody like him. Do you understand? No need for Malcolm X to exist. No need for Denmark Vesey to exist. No need for Nat Turner to exist. No, nobody. Just start naming people who were big figures in history. What they all have in common is this white devil fucking up shit for humanity, and somebody's got to stand up and take it to their ass on some level, via peace or violence or something. Yasser Arafat, rahimahullah. No need for him if this white devil didn't exist. No need. No need. No need. No need. What they all have in common is this white devil. Stop the video when I lie. Stop the video when I lie. Now, the other one you need to watch is this. It's also from Al Jazeera. It's called 6 Days That Changed the Middle East. All right? The 67 Arab-Israeli War. What's also significant to understand, everybody, is you may have this question somewhere in your heart since this all began for you, because I don't know how much of my life I've known about this. Like this, I've known about this shit. But for many people, it's brand new, you know. So a question you may have been pondering or may have come up in your heart at some point is, well, there's other Arab states in the region. How come they don't help them? Well, they have. And there's very, very good documentary. This is, it's one of them. The other one over here to the right, The War in October. What happened in 1973. All right. And that's a multi-parter as well. So you're going to have to click on these. All right. This is episode part 1. This is episode 3. You see, the war in October, because then you learn that Syria, Jordan, Iran, Egypt stage full attacks against these Zionist ass fucking people. Do you understand? So they've tried to annihilate their shit. And inshallah, they will remount their efforts in contemporary times, and their efforts will be successful, inshallah. But there's a full breaking down it all, you know, like I even remember back when knowing about the assassination of Anwar Sadat, who was the Egyptian president, and he was a black Egyptian. And one of the other things that was so glaring to me is that, you know, you see these fuckers, I'm commander-in-chief, but you never see their bitch ass in a fucking military uniform. Most of them never served in the military, never saw combat, never did anything. You understand? But there they are giving orders and declaring war on fucking people and strikes and shit. But there you see Anwar Sadat in full military regalia, literally on the battlefield, planning war strategy and shit. The president of the country. That's gangster, dude. That's gangster. But it also reminds me of this song you're going to go and listen to. I've cited it before you. I've cited it for you in previous work. It's a guy named Jackson Brown. The song is called Lives in the Balance. It's an anti-war song. And one of the verses that I'm reminded of, after just telling you about the Anwar Sadat, Egyptian president, who was assassinated by these white devils, one of the verses of the song says, I want to know who the men in the shadows are. I want to hear somebody asking them why. They can be counted on to tell us who our enemies are, but they're never the ones to fight and to die. And there are lives in the balance. There are people under fire. There are children at the cannons. There is blood on the wire. Beautiful song, very touching, very moving, very appropriate. It's called Lives in the Balance by Jackson Brown. You will go and listen to it. You will do it. You will do it. Make a commitment. You will do it. Because it's important you can do a certain heart space, everybody. You've got to get there. You've got to get there. But they're showing you all the historical footage of these various battles, the intensity, what progress they made. It's everything, man. It's everything. It's everything. It's everything. So add to your list the 6 days to change the Middle East, the 67 Arab-Israeli war, and then you're going to go and put in the war in October. What happened in 1973? Again, these are all from Al Jazeera English. All right, go and watch it, everybody. You'll be transfixed. Like, you won't be able to look away. You can't even. It's everything. And as I said, they show everything, so there's no blurring out and fuck all that. You need to see exactly what the shit is. Exactly. You're also going to go and watch this one. Israeli women soldiers give shocking testimonies about Israeli army. This is very significant because it takes you into the mind of the front line of this white demon. It's like I've told you about here in this country. When the police are out there, they can either do their job or not. That's why I never accept this. Well, they just doing their job. Well, then take your bitch ass and work at McDonald's then. Because unless you're 3, you know what you're doing. You know what you're a part of, so you're not innocent. Take your shit. Take your shit. You see, it's the same thing. It's also interesting to note that many of our police forces get a lot of training and things like that from the fucking Israeli police forces and the Mossad and all of it. Just a little side note for you. All right. But this is women even. And it chronicles 3 or 4 women. Let's see. This bitch that looks like a man. Let's see. The other bitch. Then there's a third bitch. So it's 3 or 4 women. All right. But they and remember, they don't have selective service in their military in the shit stain in the desert. Like, when you turn 18, you will definitely serve in the Israeli army. I think you have to do at least 2 years. I think it's at least 2 years. Can't remember what the tenure is. But they're young, and they literally have the power to do anything. And the intimate stories they're telling about the evil that they've committed, how they treated the Palestinians, will make you furious. Furious. Furious. And when I watched this one, I realized I probably had seen it before, but it was under a different title. It was called To See If I'm Smiling, because this bitch right here, because everybody's just so ridden with guilt and everything now in the piece, and this is from 2007. But why it was called that then is because this bitch, there was a Palestinian man that had been murdered. Because that's all they do is murder. There's no, like, ooh, we were in a conflict and we had to protect ourselves. No, they just randomly murder people. And the corpse had gotten an erection, which is something that can happen post-mortem with men. I've shared with you, and there was a name for it because I shared with you offering more evidence of why they were cutting off the penises of black slaves back during slavery here. Because when you hang somebody, there's a name for it, y'all. I forgot the name, but I brought you it in the piece. It's here on the channel. There's some name for it where you get an erection. So you could imagine you got 10 or 12 inches just sticking out on this corpse. That would be even more provocation for them to cut it off. You see, so add that to the other reasons why they were cutting it off. All right, that, jealousy, and souvenirs and some other things. So they were having to wash the body because they didn't want there to be evidence of what they had done to it by the time the family saw it. So somebody else came into where she was hosing down the body, and they were laughing about it. And she was like, well, wait, take my picture. And she hadn't seen it. So this is not much of a spoiler to tell you that at the end, she wants to see the picture because she wants to what? See if she was smiling in the picture. You see, and thankfully, the bitch was besieged by alcoholism and a few other things. So Allahu Akbar for that. So hopefully she's living a very, very miserable existence, inshallah. All right. So you're going to go and watch that. You're going to do it. You will do it. It's called Israeli Women Soldiers Give Shocking Testimonies About Israeli Army. All right. It's another documentary. But actually, this one is not from Al Jazeera. This one is from something else. Whatever, fine. That's the title that you need to type in. Do it. You should be writing this down or screenshotting this stuff because you got homework to do, everybody. These are very engaging pieces, but highly educational and will give you a leg up in any conversation circles that you find yourself in. You will be fortified to speak on this issue in an in-depth way, not just surface contemporary what's happening today bullshit. You can give history and you can shut everybody up in the room that might be listening to you because they will realize you come loaded and you know what you're talking about and you can back it up with receipts. Do you understand? Receipts. So go and watch that. Do it. All right. Now, the forked tongue of this white devil, that they are so quick to tell you what a savage Hamas is and who's a terrorist and who's bad and oh my God, the suffering of women and children in Israel, and but they will not acknowledge even the very humanity of the Palestinians. Remember, these people can't get a passport. They can't go anywhere. They can't do anything. There are teenagers that were born in Gaza and the West Bank that have never been outside of their open air concentration camp. Let's not call it a prison. This is a concentration camp. You understand? They don't even know. There's one lady in one piece that I watched that said to the journalist, if I went outside into Israel, I wouldn't even know. I would get lost. She has no idea how to even navigate the country or anything because they can't go anywhere or do anything. You understand? I mean, what these people are doing, and don't buy for this Israel's defending itself. Fuck that. Because remember, we've not seen a single any evidence of what they claimed happened to them on 7th October. Have not seen a single video of anything. Not even somebody with a bandage around their head, for God's sake. We just haven't seen it. Because the shit didn't happen. I proclaim. But now, and know this, most of your bastards in government here are Zionist fucks. These stinking Zionists. Big nose, white, stinking, trash, disgusting stench of humanity ass white demons. And this is one of them. Here's this exchange between him and a reporter. This is here. I think this is at the this is either the State Department or the White House briefing room. We'll find that out, but hear this now.
Of internal determinations here at the State Department.
Oh, State Department. There's our answer right there. Right there. Right there. Right there. All right, let's go on.
Of internal determinations here at the State Department.
I would say you've come out much more quickly than that. Given the amount of time that the bombing has been going on in Gaza, you've had enough time. You've had more time than in some cases.
We have not seen Russians warning civilians to vacate apartment buildings when they launch them. We've seen evidence in Russia's case of deliberately targeting civilian infrastructure.
So you have made some kind of assessment.
So in this clip, as you can see in the title, it says, journalist grills U.S. official over Israel war, calls out hypocrisy over the Russia war. He's showing the double standard. when they came out and proclaimed, we just can't believe what Russia's doing to Ukraine and they're hurting innocent citizens and we just cannot go on. But then when they're asked about, well, then what do you say about Israel attacking the fucking innocent people of Palestine? Then they just can't make a statement and we just can't find it and we just don't have that evidence and we're unaware and, I don't recall and just hear this now. I'll shut up.
Come out much more quickly than that. Given the amount of time that the bombing has been going on in Gaza, you've had enough time. You've had more time than in some cases.
We have not seen Russians warning civilians to vacate apartment buildings when they launch them. We've seen evidence in Russia's case of deliberately targeting civilians.
So what he's trying to say is that Israel at least warned people. So because I warn you, even though you're totally innocent, you're not Hamas, you haven't done anything, but I've warned you, you've got 5 minutes to get out of your house because I'm going to flatten it just because, and you'll get a chance to come back. It's just temporary. You'll get a chance to come back to your flattened house now, and you'll get to come back. It's all fine. It's fantastic. It's great. You see, that makes it okay. And the reporters are pushing back, saying, fuck that. Nah. I'll shut up. I'll do my dissertation after the clip. Go.
Amount of time that the bombing.
Okay, I don't swear to that.
Had enough time. You've had more time than in some cases.
We have not seen Russians warning civilians to vacate apartment buildings
but
when they launch them.
We've seen Israel warning civilians.
We've seen evidence in Russia's case of deliberately targeting civilian infrastructure.
And you've not seen that in fucking Israel, you shit face? Is that what you're trying to put over? Fork-tongued devil? Huh? That's exactly what he's trying to put over. Go on.
So you have made some kind of assessment.
I'm saying that's the difference in the situation and facts that we haven't seen here.
But the fact that you have made a determination, because what you just said, Simon, is that you made a determination that Russia deliberately targeted civilian, and you have made a determination in this case that Israel is not deliberately doing that.
Yes, you did. That's exactly what the old bastard said. Hear that now. That's a very important exchange. So they're ganging up on him, really.
The fact that you have made a determination, because what you just said, Simon, is that you made a determination that Russia deliberately targeted civilian, and you have made a determination in this case that Israel is not deliberately doing that. I'm sorry, I don't see. There's no other way to read what you.
We were able to show and make the determination in the case of Russia that they were intentionally targeting civilian infrastructure. We have not come to that conclusion here.
We've not, and we won't, because we're the same murdering, stinking fucking devils that they are in the shit stain in the desert.
With Israel.
With Israel, yeah.
Okay, so that means that you have thus far determined that Israel is complying with the laws of war.
It does not mean that. It means that we have not conducted, again, Matt,
we just haven't conducted, we just don't know that yet. We just don't know. We have to, because as I speak to you now, everybody, we know that over 8,000 Palestinians have been murdered and slaughtered. You see? 8,000. Fuck Israel.
No, you want me to make a claim that usually is at the end of a formal legal process, and I'm not able to do that.
I don't think that's correct at all. And in fact, it's exactly as Simon said. You guys are very quick off the bat to accuse Russia of, and probably correctly, of committing war crimes and doing that kind of thing. But in this case, and it's now 2.5 weeks in, you guys are saying, you guys won't say whether you will make a determination, even though many others have. Or many others have weighed in, either on the yes, they are complying, or no, they are not complying.
I'm saying
and so I think that what the world is looking for is a clear statement from you guys, whether you think that they are heeding your advice. And it sounds to me as though you're saying, yes, they are. But you then, when you're pressed on that, you won't give an answer.
Again, we believe they are listening to our advice, but I cannot make the formal. I just cannot make the formal determination when it comes to everyone.
I just can't do it because my ass is plugged by Israel. And that's where all my money comes from, because they're the biggest political lobby in fucking Washington, and they run the media and they run all the fucking everything else, and I'm just a bitch boy. And so, you know, I'm just not able to make that determination right now. That's the translation, everybody. That's the goddamn truth.
Strikes that's been launched. Go ahead, Said. Go ahead.
Right, and then just very quickly. So,
by the way, you shouldn't vote for anybody. I don't care if you're Republican even. Nobody in this bitch should do any more voting. Say, fuck it, we're not voting for none of this shit, because until there's a candidate that can say outright from a podium on national TV, I don't support the fucking state of Israel. That's the candidate. That's the candidate. That's the candidate. Whoever the fuck they might be, that's who the candidate needs to be.
you're saying,
I do want to give other people a chance, but go ahead.
Now it's about giving everybody else. He wants to be fair and give everybody. No, bitch, you're on the hot seat and you want to move on. Fuck you, bitch.
I do want to give other people a chance, but go ahead.
You're saying that dropping leaflets on people.
I'm sorry.
Dropping leaflets on people, telling them that we're going to bomb this site, like 3 or 5 minutes before, is actually complying with the laws before. Is that what you said?
Saeed, I am not able to sit here at this podium and talk about the specifics of every side. I'd let you finish the question. Let me finish the answer.
Sure.
Of every individual strike. To make a determination of a war crime, you need to be able to do these very fact-specific determinations and compare them about what international law requires, and see if the international law has been violated. I'm not able to make that assessment. Certainly not as you know, with facts that you were giving to me about whatever strike.
About whatever strike. So I wish I was the journalist. I would say, so you're saying me, a journalist, who's not part of the State Department and is not privy to your intelligence, I actually know more about the shit that's happening than you do. Is that what you're saying to us here right now? Is that what you want the American people to know and the rest of the world? Is that what you're saying, fuckwad? You see? Really put him on the spot. All right. That's the end of his lies. Now, you need to hear this. This was a Muslim brother speaking in London, in the heart of London, no less. And this is the difference in speech. You know, I haven't seen everything, but I am immersing myself and consuming my time, my free time, everybody, with this so that I can bring you cohesive, collective, accurate information. And to that end, I see Muslims, myself included, speaking with vigor, passion, fearless truth. Have not really seen that from many Christians. Just had not seen it. Just hadn't seen it. And if you know of something, then by all means, communicate that to me in the comments. Leave a link. Whatever. Listen, I've always told my audience, I am happy to be wrong on anything, because that is a moment of opportunity to become even more brilliant. You got to know what you don't know, and you got to acknowledge that. You see? That's the only thing that makes a credible, that gives credence to a credible man's credibility. If you know that a man is willing to call his own self, check his own self, that there is no ego involved or arrogance, just what is the truth? So you got to acknowledge that. You see? So I'm always happy to be wrong. 100%. There's nothing wrong with that. So I restate, I've just not seen it. Just hadn't seen it. And so, hear this, brother, now, because this is everything. Let's go. This is from Towards Eternity. Spread the message of Islam. Let's go.
Now we are being told that this current conflict started when Israel was attacked by a terrorist group, as they claim, and they flew over with paragliders and machine guns and they killed some Israelis. And therefore Israel has the right to defend itself and it is now retaliating. But what a lot of people don't realize, they don't acknowledge, and they don't know that this attack was not just an attack that happened, that instigated a response. In reality, the Palestinians have been attacked for the last 75 years of their existence. And that attack and that oppression has not ceased and it has not stopped. This is not the catalyst as to the conflict that we see today. The clocks did not start when the rockets flew over from Palestine into Israel.
If they
the clocks did not start for this conflict when some paragliders flew in and shot some innocent Israelis. The conflict started way before. And if you look, even just a few weeks and a few months before the conflict, on the 18th of September 2023.
I want to stop it there. And again, they gave us these images of some paragliders. Again, we don't know that that's real because we haven't seen any evidence of any victims, no casualties, no destruction and damage in fucking Israel. So again, I maintain and proclaim that the shit did not happen. This is right up there with the Northwoods incident. The Northwoods incident has been declassified, everybody. Back when Kennedy was president. And you know, we don't even really need the Northwoods, but I'll go on. But, well, I'll cite this other. But anyways, this was, oh Lord, what was it? Because the Northwoods incident was the precursor. Operation Northwoods was this thing that they conjured for us to attack Cuba that didn't happen. But they admit now freely and openly the Vietnam War that started, Gulf of Tonkin incident, Allahu Akbar, all knowledge is with Allah. The White Devils have told us that the Gulf of Tonkin incident is what precipitated the Vietnam War. They now admit, it's been declassified for several years now, it never happened. Hear that. It never fucking happened. Not, it happened, but they lied about the details. It wasn't as they said. No. It never happened. Like, I never won an Oscar. You see? Well, I did for Best Actor. That's something. I don't want to get into that. This is not about me. I don't want to get into that. All right, but it didn't happen. Just as Iraq had nothing to do with 9/11 at fucking all. And yet they attacked that country for oil. And because Saddam Hussein was about to start printing or about to start trading his oil in euro, bitch. In euro. Which cuts this white devil's dollar out. Remember, white people don't ever like to play fair. They don't play well with others at fucking all. If they're in the game, they have to have the ball and make the rules. Otherwise, they bitch and moan and start violence and slaughter and murder people. That's 100% true. I'm not being facetious. This is the character of this Damon. Do you understand? So, we don't have any evidence of that. And again, Gaza is a open air concentration camp. Israel controls every single thing that goes in and comes out of Gaza. So how would you have full paragliding? With those, they make noise. They have to have gasoline. You know, it's a noisy thing. You hear it start up, you see it take off, you see it flying over. You don't miss those things. I've been out and watched people paragliding. And so how would they have that in Gaza? How? How would they have rockets in Gaza? How would they get them in without fucking the Zionist bastards, the Zionist shit stains, the stain of all fucking humanity, knowing about it? You see? You can't have it all. You're not allowed. You're not allowed. It's the law of the universe. So I maintain it didn't happen. Didn't happen. So he cites now, he says on 18 September 2023, go on.
Before the current crisis, Save the Children reported that 38 Palestinian children were killed by Israeli forces just leading up to this conflict, making that the worst year on record, the worst year on record of killing innocent Palestinian children just before this current conflict.
Important to make the distinction. That was the most on record for killing children in one particular period, just children. But be clear that that does not include the number of overall Palestinians that were murdered in that same time period. We have to be clear about that. So it goes on to say, don't be fooled when they tell you, go on.
So don't be fooled when they tell you that Israel is retaliating. Israel are not retaliating. Israel has always been the aggressor. Israel has always been the instigator, the propagator. It is not the Israelis that are retaliating.
See, and that's why I say we will never denounce Hamas, because you don't denounce someone who is fighting against oppression. That is an act of cowardice. You understand? Like, that's like saying, do you denounce this woman for killing her husband who has been torturing her and pulling her fingernails out with pliers and setting her on fire and has been brutalizing her for the last 15 years? Do you denounce her? Does her husband have the right to defend himself? You see, this is that, everybody. I need you to be very clear. Let's cut through the haze and the smoke and the bullshit. It's exactly that. So fuck no, we don't fucking condemn Hamas, bitch. Nah. He goes on and says it is not the Israelis that are retaliating.
But up to now, every retaliation is by the Palestinian people. So don't forget this, my friend. Don't let them persuade you that they are simply reacting to an offensive by the Palestinian people, when in fact they have been the ones who have been carrying out the offensives non-stop every day of the lives of the Palestinian people for the last 75 years. Under the United Nations Charter for the Human Rights, they regard Israel routinely commits war crimes to the Palestinian population, an innocent population that has no military, no navy, no air force, no army, and it attacks them mercilessly on a daily basis.
I want to stop and say this. Again, on the United Nations Charter, they've got Israel down for daily fucking war crimes and crimes against humanity. Yet you had that cackling bitch, that dizzy slut bedwench. You call her Kamala Harris. I don't. Oh, there she was in Ghana and her mini African, West African state tour that she made, proclaiming that they had to step up their human rights with this fucking gay bullshit. Meanwhile, these motherfuckers are murdering off fucking people every goddamn day. You're not in Israel, you cackling bitch. You see what I'm saying? We have to ask Allah for their destruction. We must ask Allah for this. Give us this. Inshallah. Give us this. That righteousness can finally prevail. I had to make that distinction. Do not bring that gay shit near us, bitch, and tell us about fucking human rights. Fuck you. Shit. Slut.
Under the United Nations, my brothers and my sisters, not that I need them to quote to me as a Muslim as to what is valid or invalid, but according to their own charter, according to the very laws that they constructed, they said using excessive force, targeting of civilians, and disproportionate force are all acts and all crimes against humanity.
And they put us on that list for police brutality several years ago. I brought you that. I think it might have been on the old channel. They decreed that police brutality upon African people in this bitch was crimes against humanity, bitch. Where's somebody to drop a bomb on this bitch and sanction them for their fucking terror? Huh? Where is it? Yet they want to police the world and tell you who's the fuck is bad and, ooh, you're against human rights and fuck you. You're the devil, bitch. Now what? It's on. Fuck these people and all their progeny for all of eternity. To the end of existence.
They are war crimes, and Israel commits those war crimes on a daily basis. And the world stays silent. But we will not be silent. We will not stand by and let them mercilessly wipe out and commit genocide on a people. We will voice our opinions. We will voice what we have to say. And inshallah, there will be some amongst those who regard the Palestinians to be the perpetrators, to hopefully be influenced by the information that is provided, not just here, but by the countless voices that are out there. If you don't wish to believe me, because the man is a Muslim, the man is a sympathizer for Islam, he's going to be perhaps presenting facts according to their narrative, then look at their own narrative, my friends. Look at their own narrative. If you study the organization for the Israeli soldiers who are breaking the silence, Breaking the Silence is an organization that catalogs and interviews Israeli soldiers.
Yes, Breaking the Silence. And I probably will show that to you, identify that for you in this piece as we go forward. But let's go on. But these are former Israeli soldiers. I think some of them might still be, but most of them are like after they've served, like, I need you to fucking risk your life for some shit. You feel me? But whatever. But they tell the shit. Like the piece that I gave you as part of your homework with the Israeli bitches who are former soldiers and who are now telling their story and all the heinous things that they did and the truth of it all. You have to see that.
Who have gained a conscience and who are speaking out against the atrocities that they are committing on a daily basis. Hear what they have to say. If you don't believe me as a Muslim, believe the Israeli soldiers who are telling us that we deliberately and continuously on a daily basis humiliate the Palestinian people. We attack civilians. This is their words, not my words.
And when we say civilians, that means all. That means children. There's a site that I'm going to show you later on. And there's a young 14-year-old boy who they shot in the back. Or shot him in the stomach. You see? And in that same video, there's another kid who the kids weren't doing anything. And the jeeps of these demon fucking soldiers had left, but this one jeep decided to stay and came back and shit and was just looking for some shit to do. Like, they do this shit for sport because white people are the devil, everybody. The devil. There's no conscience with these people. There isn't. You have to get to that. And I speak on this so firmly because I'm aware when I speak, everybody, I've had a very eclectic life. Allahu Akbar. I've lived all over this country. I have seen white people in more expressions than many of my people get to see because so many of my people only live in one place the entire time they live. Just they one town. If they live in Maryland, maybe they go to Florida. If they live in Atlanta, maybe they go to DC or something. It ain't no real big movement. It's the same places. They're in a very sort of tight bubble. You're not really exposing yourself. Then you have another layer of our people who never get out of their own town, never out of their own city, their own street, their neighborhood, So they're not aware. And then depending on where you are geographically, you may not feel the intensity of their evil, If you lived in the South, you would be more aware than if you lived in, California, things like this. So I am here to tell you as someone who has lived a life that has informed me that I can give you this and state affirmatively what the truth is. You have to know that. You have to know that. So they have no problem killing children at all. There's another kid that they shot him in the back and it blew up his stomach. You know, and also shot him in the leg, shattered his leg, you know. Kids. Children. And the first kid that I cited for you, the 14-year-old, his name is Ahmed Mohammed Karan. And there were people, witnesses, who were yelling at them, don't shoot, please don't shoot. They're kids, they're children. And these fucking white demons still shot this kid. SubhanAllah, he survived. He survived, Allahu Akbar. But let's go on. He said we stopped the teachers going from schools.
We stop the teachers going from schools. We stop the children going to schools. We attack them. We shoot them. We humiliate them. We raid them in the middle of the night.
He's quoting what these, what is the organization of the fucking soldiers who suddenly got a conscience. He's quoting them now. I'll just take it back so we can have full context since I yacked.
We deliberately and continuously on a daily basis humiliate the Palestinians. Believe the Israeli soldiers who are telling us that we deliberately and continuously on a daily basis humiliate the Palestinian people. We attack civilians. This is their words, not my words. We stop the teachers going from schools. We stop the children going to schools. We attack them. We shoot them. We humiliate them. We raid them in the middle of the night, waking the children up at gunpoint to make them fear us, to dominate us. These are not my words. These are the words of Israeli soldiers who have gained a conscience.
And you know, this is what we should have been doing to white people the entire time. Not marching for fucking integration and shit. You see, that was a psychotic fucking, that whole event was fucked. If I could go back and change something in time, it wouldn't be a fucking civil rights march in this bitch. That I promise you. That I promise you. History would read very differently. Very differently.
These are not my words. These are the words of Israeli soldiers who have gained a conscience. You don't want to believe me, then at least believe them. At least allow that information to wake you. If you are asleep that the Muslims are complaining, that the Muslims are crying, that the Palestinians are crying, and you wish to just remain in your slumber, then at least allow these facts to wake you from your slumber. There is no excuse today for people who say that I'm ignorant and I don't know what's happening.
Right.
There are resources available today that were not available to our fathers or our grandfathers.
What have I told you over the years? I don't tolerate willful ignorance because knowledge is readily available now. Almost anything you want to know is at the click of a mouse or at the tip of your fingers. No excuse for ignorance. Any ignorance is willful. And it is not accepted. Certainly not by the Jedi.
Or the generations that came before. Today, the internet is completely flooded with information. And even the lies and the propaganda are easily combated if you are interested to find out the truth. But if you're happy to have your predispositions fed because you hate the Arabs, because these are backward, medieval people with a medieval religion full of hate, and you just wish to reinforce those predispositions, then yes, you will find the sewage on the internet to feed you, to give you the gluttony, to fill your souls and your hearts with that evil lies, with those deceptions. But if you have a conscience and you wish to at least side with the victim and ensure that you do not side with the perpetrator, the one who has created this mess in the first place, then open your eyes and educate yourselves. There's a lot of information out there. And again, if you don't want to believe a Muslim man who stands here crying about the Palestinians, then listen to Noam Chomsky, the professor who is Jewish himself. Listen to Norman Finkelstein, Ilan Pappé, who are political scientists. Their parents are survivors of the Holocaust. They have no dog in the race. They do not attribute any support necessarily to any group or any people, but they speak with the evidence and the facts. And what do they say? What do they argue? The same things that I have mentioned to you today, that Israel commits on a daily basis war crimes on a predominantly civilian population, women and children. If you treated a dog in this country the way that the Palestinian child is treated in Palestine, wallahi, Allah is my witness,
Wallahi.
you would be arrested. You would be arrested for treating a dog in that manner. Today they're treating human beings worse than an animal, and the world stays silent. The world says, we stand for Israel. How disgusting. What are you standing for? You're standing for a country, a nation, a political movement of Zionism that is aggressively and actively destroying and crushing the dreams of children and women to live in their land in peace. Now people say, let's not talk about figures. Let's not talk about how many here and how many there. Let's just say that both of them are killing each other. Let's just say both of them are fighting one another. Let's not look at the figures. I wonder why they say this. I wonder why they don't want you to look into the figures. Could it be that the imbalance that I'm about to tell you is so grotesque that they don't want you to know about it? So let's have a look at what they did in the last conflict. Protective edge. Homes destroyed. How many homes did these sophisticated rockets that were being fired into Israel, how many homes were destroyed? How many? One. How many homes did Israel destroy in the Palestinian territories? How many? 24 hours the bulldozers were going. The missiles were flying. How many? One home in Israel, 18,000 homes in the Palestinian territories. So when you don't want to talk about the figures, when you don't want to talk about the numbers, I know why you don't want to talk about those numbers. Because those numbers are damning. They condemn you, they quash you, they crush you, they destroy any remnants of support for Israel. So you don't want to talk about those numbers. The Israelis destroyed 285 kindergartens, nurseries for babies, for children, and one was destroyed in Israel. They destroyed 73 medical facilities in Palestine. 73 in Palestine. How many medical facilities were destroyed in Israel? 0. Duck. Zip. 0. Now, yes, these figures are uncomfortable for people. They don't want to talk about the numbers because the numbers condemn them to their hypocrisy. The numbers condemn them to their utter contempt for justice and fairness. So what do? They say, let's not talk about the numbers, please. Let's just say it's a conflict. It's a war. They're just as bad as each other. My friends, these figures speak for themselves. They're not just as bad as each other. The figures speak for themselves. When you put Mike Tyson in a ring with a 3-year-old, it is not a battle or a bout, my friends. It is a massacre. They say Israel has the right to defend itself.
That makes me sick.
Israel has the right to defend itself.
Every time I hear that, I vomit.
Jimmy Savile, the prolific child raper, has a right to defend himself when the child scratched him while he was raping it. Would you ever utter such a thing? Would you ever agree to such a concept? As vile and as disgusting as that is, this is your support for Israel. Shame on you. Your soul is dead. You have no heart. Your heart's of stone. Do you not see the evidence that unfolds in front of you? You wish to remain blind and deaf and dumb to the misery of people? Or is it because, they're Arabs, they're medieval, these people are backward, they teach their children to hate the Jews, so wipe them off, kill them, destroy them. There are very important lessons in history, my friends, that we need to contemplate. And all those of you who want to hang the flag of Israel off your buildings and on your Facebook posts, just remember one thing, that in history, the supporters of tyranny are never remembered. They are disgraced, even by their own families.
Amen.
If you have a Nazi in your generation, your forefathers, you'll even change your surname. You don't want to be attributed to that scum. One of the other quotes that is very striking by Malcolm X is, if you're not careful, the newspapers will have you hating the people who are being oppressed and loving the people who are doing the oppressing.
Y'all know Malcolm is my king. I quote him all the time. And just recently, one of the pieces that I brought you, since this bullshit has risen up again, even the thumbnail, I have that quote the picture of Malcolm with that quote next to him. I literally have that as the thumbnail of the video. Wallahi. So I loved when I heard him quote this because it's so appropriate at this time. It's prophetic words from Malcolm, speaking even still from the grave beyond Allahu Akbar, speaking beyond the barzakh of death. And his words are accurate, true, and current and contemporary right now, because that's what they seek to do. Have you loving these stinking, demonic, atheistic, Zionist fucks and denouncing the oppressed and the murdered in Gaza. You see, there's no greater evidence of brilliance and vindication of someone's words than when they speak for you many decades and centuries after you're gone. Allahu Akbar, Rahim of Allah.
Is if you're not careful, the newspapers will have you hating the people who are being oppressed and loving the people who are doing the oppressing.
So
if you want to do something, then educate yourself. Become an activist. Speak out against it. Do things that you are allowed to do according to your religion, and don't overstep the mark. And one last message to my Palestinian brothers and sisters, that your resilience and your strength has strengthened our iman. This is dawah for us, because in light of the destruction, in light of the tyranny and the oppression, you are still saying Allahu Akbar, Allah is the greatest. And Alhamdulillah, praise be to Allah, you're showing thanks and shukr whilst your entire families have just been bombed and wiped out. You're picking up the pieces of your children and you're saying Alhamdulillah to Allah. You're being grateful, and as a consequence, that resilience is giving us strength as well. So Jazakallah khair to my brothers and sisters in Palestine. And know that your brothers and your sisters around the world are supporting you. And there will be a day when you will be freed. And there will be a day when the people who spoke against the oppression will be the ones who will be celebrated. And the ones, the maniacs, the psychopaths who have supported this by military means or even your words, then you will be forgotten. You will be destroyed in history. Nobody will want to know you or attribute anything to you. Your own families will disown you and they will not want to know you. But the people who stood up and they spoke out against this oppression, those are the people that will be remembered. Those are the people that will stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment, and they will say, Ya Allah, I did whatever I could do. I spoke out. You told me there were 3 signs for Iman, for belief. You said the first one was to stop it with my hands. I was incapable. I couldn't do that. The second one was that you speak out against it. And the third one was just feel that it is evil in your hearts. So Alhamdulillah, at least we do the first stage and we do the second stage. And we speak out against the oppression. And we will not tolerate people. And we are not going to be on the back foot. And we're not going to be defensive. We're going to say what you're doing is genocide. It's mass murder. It's the killing and the quashing of innocent people. And it has to stop.
Ameen. Ameen. Ameen. That's what it is. You feel me? That's what it is. It's as I've quoted for you. You know. And that's what we're doing now. That's what I'm doing. We are doing. That we are condemning it with our words, and we are condemning it in our hearts. We reject these people and their evil to the end of existence. Them and their progeny, born evil. Born evil. Born evil. I think it's appropriate to bring this in now, everybody, because I have mentioned to you earlier, even in this piece, about the significance of Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem. That it's one of the 3rd holiest sites on planet Earth for Muslims and for Christians and for Jews. But I'm a Muslim, so I'm citing us. And this will give you some of the what Allah has said and decreed about this area, and also give you some of the prophecy. I always have I've done full videos here on the channel about just prophecy known to Muslims. Christians don't know any prophecy. You don't know any. Accept that truth. Just, it's fine. It's fine. Accept that. You don't have it. And it's not your fault. You know, if you're not in a store that sells tires, we can't condemn you if you don't come out of the store with tires. We don't go, well, where's the tires? We can't condemn you for that. You see? We know the prophecy. We know the prophecy. And they begin with the death of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So hear this now as it relates to this mosque and the prophecy surrounding it.
When we talk about Al-Aqsa, Allah talks about this land very specifically and talks about this masjid very specifically. Allah calls it Al-Ard allati barakna fiha, the land that we have blessed from within. Wa barakna hawla, and we have blessed what is around it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refers to it in the words of the prophets that came before, Al-Ard al-Muqaddasa, the Holy Land. And there's something very specific about that. Imam Ibn al-Jawzi rahimahullah says it is called Al-Muqaddasa, the Holy Land, because it is Al-Mutahhira. It purifies you of all of your sins. When you go to that land and you pray in that land, a place where Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said,
you know why Allah blessed that land? He said, you know why? This is the reason. He says, because there is not a single inch in Jerusalem except that an angel stood there in worship, or there was a prophet that worshipped Allah in that area, or there is a prophet that is buried in that area.
Hear that again. This is the reason.
He says, because there is not a single...
There is not a single inch. Hear this, my people. Hear this. Christians don't know this. Jews don't know. And definitely the stinking ass Zionists don't give a fuck.
Single inch in Jerusalem except that
an angel stood there in worship.
Angel stood there in worship, or there was a prophet that worshipped Allah in that area, or there is a prophet that is buried in that area. This is why it became blessed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to take the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he's going to take him to that same place that is blessed. And Jibreel alayhi salam, he comes down and he brings with him an animal called al-Buraq. And this animal is
Jibreel is what you know as Gabriel. Throw that out. It's incorrect grammatically and historically. Throw it out.
He brings with him an animal called al-Buraq. And this animal is so fast that with every step it reaches the end of your eyesight. Well, you subhanAllah, you have to realize, my brothers, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He could have taken a Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam straight to the heaven, but He didn't. He took him to Jerusalem, He took him to Masjid al-Aqsa. He went there because there's something special about it, there's something important about it. Continuing that narration, he says, when we arrived to Jerusalem, Jibreel pointed to the wall and the wall split in half and he tied al-Buraq in the middle of that wall. Subhanallah, when Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is witnessing all this, then the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, I entered al-Masjid al-Aqsa and I prayed 2 rak'at, and when I finished from the 2 rak'at, I raised my head.
And I've taught you, there's videos here on the channel. I've definitely shown you how I pray, how Muslims pray. I certainly have it in my Ramadan videos. I've explained to you what rakats are, units of prayer, etc., etc. What constitutes a single rakat, a single unit of prayer. And so when you see that it says that the Prophet prayed 2 rakats, etc., those of you who follow and listen and watch, you know, you already have the education, so you're ahead of the class.
And I prayed 2 rak'at, and when I finished from the 2 rak'at, I raised my head and I saw all the prophets there in front of me.
All the prophets. This was the great night journey of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It was one of the many miracles that took place during his lifetime and prophethood. And so this is the story that he told to the companions, his companions. And hear this, because this is the truth. Also, just a side note, as it relates to prophecy and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that the Prophet Muhammad split the moon, everybody. He literally split the moon. This was witnessed by many, many, many people. He split the moon. Call up NASA, Google it, splitting of the moon. You will learn that there's evidence now that the moon was split. Go and learn this for yourself. Prove it to yourself. Don't listen to me. I'm nobody. Go and now prove what I've spoken for yourself. You understand? Go and prove it for yourself. Convince your own self of it now. I've spoken the truth. Wallahi.
The 2 rak'at, I raised my head and I saw all the prophets there in front of me. Imagine Ibrahim alayhi salam, Sulaiman alayhi salam, the one who built the Masjid al-Aqsa, Adam alayhi salam, Ayyub alayhi salam, Musa alayhi salam. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam says they were waiting for me to take my position and to lead them in salah, and I was shy. So Jibreel alayhi
salah or salat is the prayer in Islam.
Salam came and he took by my hand and he took me all the way until he put me in front of them, until I led them in salah. And this is the only time all the prophets gathered in such a manner, and he led them in salah. And this is what made the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam khayra ummatin ukhrijat lin-nas, the greatest of nations that ever came about, because we led the prophets in salat. And then the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam from there went up to the heavens, got the commandment of a salat. He came down and he went to his people in Mecca, and he began.
When it says he went up and was given the commandments of the prayer, because you see in the Quran, Allah identifies the Prophet Muhammad as the best example of a human being, full stop. And so when we were instructed to pray, Allah said, pray as you see Muhammad pray. This is how you pray. So our 5-time-a-day prayers and the number of rakats that we make in prayer for each prayer, excuse me, this is when it came about. Because when Allah had a certain number of prayers upon humanity, and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked Allah to shorthand it for you, can we make it this? I'll just say it that way, because otherwise it gets very lengthy. There's language involved and some other things. I don't want to get into that. But when I'm just offering this because of what the brother just said there. What did he say? When he got the commandments of the salat, he came down. And so this is when the 5 times a day, how many rakats you pray at Fajr, which is the opening prayer before the sun rises. Then you have Dhuhr, which is the noon prayer. Then you have the Asr prayer, which is the afternoon prayer, early afternoon. Then you have Maghrib, which is the sundown prayer. And then you have Isha, which is the night prayer. All right? This is the 5 prayers. And you have certain amount of rakats that you pray for each one of those prayers. All right? This is when the commandments of the prayer came down.
He came down and he went to his people in Mecca, and he began to explain to them, and listen to this hadith, how powerful it is. He said,
hadith. This is what Muslims, we follow the Quran. That is the it. And then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because this is why Allah says what he's decreed in the Quran, then you defer to the Prophet for the example of what I've said here. Do that. Do that. So, so this is how we get many of our practices and things like that, is from the hadith of the Prophet. This is the most protected and preserved. We know everything about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He's the most documented prophet in the history of prophet anything. We know everything about him. We know where he was born, his lineage, how he grew up, who he knew, who he talked to, everything that he said, all of it. And this oral tradition has been protected and preserved down through the nearly 1,500 years. And so you can't bring us, and you have to have evidence of the hadith. So you can't just say, well, there's a hadith that says this. We have to, then we immediately, 1.9 billion Muslims will say, what's your evidence? What hadith is that? What? You see, it's chained. We have a whole science of how we verify that that is the truth. It's a whole thing. It's so beautiful, man. SubhanAllah. There's nothing greater than being a Muslim and living the life that you know your Maker has decreed for you. He has laid out everything from morning to night, from birth to death. Every aspect of your life has been addressed. Allahu Akbar. It's all there. It's all there. It's all there. Wow.
To this hadith, how powerful it is. He said, and there will come a time. It's as though Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he knows that a time will come in which the believers will be deprived from Masjid al-Aqsa.
Will be deprived from Masjid al-Aqsa. And I just saw a report that they're only letting, I think, Jews and Christians, or just Jews. This is current right now, into Al-Aqsa, that they are restricting Muslims from going in. This is the prophecy, everybody. This is the prophecy. This is the prophecy. And as he said, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, there will come a time in which the believers
will be deprived from Masjid al-Aqsa for a very long time, just like today.
When you're watching those images of stun grenades, and you're watching those images of bullets, and you're watching those images of settler extremists chanting out that this is theirs and desecrating people in that land. So if it hurts us that we are prohibited from Al-Aqsa, if it hurts those of us who are Palestinian in particular, who can't visit the land of our parents, while colonialists and their enablers can, then know that Prophet Musa alayhi salam, the most spoken about man in the Quran, also was prohibited. And the Prophet ﷺ said, if I were there, I would show you his grave, Taht al-Kathib al-Ahmar, under the red dune, where Musa alayhi salam was granted that request to be as close to it as possible.
So also in that hadith,
America is on the cusp.
We learn from this prophecy of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We know where the Prophet Moses is buried as Muslims. We know. We know. He spoke it. He told us. Just as when you, any of you who have watched any of my prophecy videos, I brought you stunning prophecies of Islam. And as it relates to Moses, the Pharaoh, Allah said that he would preserve the body of Pharaoh as a testimony of the truth for future generations. Go now and Google the mummy of Moses, or of Pharaoh, is the most preserved mummy they've ever found. But more importantly, proving what the Quran said, that when they did forensics on it, they confirmed that this particular mummy, this person died by drowning. We know this is the body of Pharaoh. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Now, this is also in the shit stain in the desert. This was a short clip where you had some civilian Israelis. I just threw up in my mouth and lost a tooth. Where you had some Israeli, an Israeli minister had gone to this hospital I think it was like a some sort of like a publicity or the word escapes me. Like when politicians photo ops and things like that, or they show up to like act like they're on the scene and they're part of the community and they came to check on the constituency and the bullshit, and they were met with a lot of anger from these people at this hospital. This Israeli minister bitch in very bad shoes, by the way. That's something else. I don't want to get into it. Hear this now. You're hindering this nation from finding the way to move forward. You're disturbing us. You've been a really good girl, haven't you? I don't know who's saying that. All of you ruined this country. I think this is the doctor now speaking to the minister whore. You ruined it. Now get out of here. It's our turn now to take control. Look at the bitch. I mean, look how dated she looks. Very dowdy. Leans, man, possibly transgender. I don't want to get into it. Look. Left wing, right wing. One united nation without you. You ruined everything. An Israeli cabinet minister has to leave the hospital visit after tensions erupt with civilians. No, I read it wrong. An Israeli cabinet whore in bad shoes and a dowdy dress, that's what it says. You see it there, it says it. Alright. Had to get the fuck out, alright, when she tried to take her bitch ass into a hospital after tensions erupted with civilians. That's what it says. I just read it. You saw it. You saw it. Israeli's environment minister, Edith Silman, was visiting the wounded at Asaf something fucking word hospital in some other word. I'm not trying to read it. I'm over it. In central Israel after the deadly attack by Hamas. Again, where's the full lobby of just bodies and people just strewn and hurt and they can't go on? You see? Get out, whore. The whore left the hospital after angry residents accused the government of, quote, ruining the country, end quote. You see? And where are their massive rallies against their nation, everybody, saying, stop the attack on Gaza? Where's the fucking Israelis in the street? Oh, they're not there because they're all fucking demons. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm stating facts, not in evidence, Your Honor. Move to strike. I'll redirect the witness. This is incidental, everybody. This was not part of the curriculum that I prepared for you. I noticed it while transiting from the previous video. It's from 5 hours ago. I can tell you that it is 3:08 a.m. on Tuesday the 31st. So I'm putting in work. And the video says it's from 5 hours ago. I don't know who Erdogan is, but it says, we may suddenly knock on your door one night. Hear this now. Yesterday,
Ukraine,
those who shed crocodile tears for the civilians killed
Rusya savaşında katledilen siviller için timsah gözyaşları dökenler
in the Ukraine-Russia war are today silently watching the death of thousands of innocent children. And by the way, children go directly to paradise, everybody. You know, we know as Muslims that when you die, first of all, you will be aware of your grave. You need to know this. You'll be aware of your grave. But beyond that, there is what is known as a barzakh. The barzakh is the what Christians call purgatory, but it's a cheap understanding and word what they use. This barzakh is deeper than that. It's the space between your life, your death, and your resurrection. Because there will be a great resurrection. All of us will be brought forth. Allah says to us in the Quran that you will be brought forth again and you will be perfected down to your fingertips. So we knew about the fingerprint many centuries before forensics learned that we all had a fingerprint. None of them are the same, and no two are the same, and no people have the same fingerprint. You see? He's being very specific, but you have to know the Arabic words in order to understand how specific Allah is speaking. It will give you goosebumps and make the hair on your neck stand up. It's so specific. Your soul knows that your Lord is speaking. This is why we call the Kitab of Allah, the Kalim of Allah, the spoken word of God. Allahu Akbar. The literal spoken word of the Creator. So you need to know that the children don't go through that. A child dies, they go straight to Jannah. Allahu Akbar. And so for Christians, get rid of this, we're all born in sin. No, the fuck we're not. Well, white people are, but I don't want to get into that. All right. But you're not born in sin. You are born pure and angelic. You are without error and without fault. A perfectly clean slate. You understand? And so when you die as a child, you go straight to Jannah. Allahu Akbar. I offer that because I want you to take some comfort in that. As tragic and as heartbreaking and sorrowful as it is when we learn of the deaths of children, it's such a barbaric thing. Hopefully those words will give you some comfort upon your heart and your soul with that knowledge, knowing that they go directly to paradise. Directly. You almost have an envy, like either you would rather have not been born, or why couldn't I just die when I was a child? You feel me? Because then your destination is not in question. But now we've lived, and so it is. And so only by the mercy of Allah will any of us attain Jannah or paradise. But anyway, said that they cry, and they're silent at the deaths of thousands of innocent children. Let's go on. You wept for those who died in Ukraine. Oh, because they were white. I'm sure he meant that too, but I don't want to get into that. Why do you not raise your voice for these little ones dying in Gaza? Oh West, I am addressing you. That's the fucking white nations, the West, the US, Europe, that's the West. Are you trying to stir up another? Crescent cross conflict. You see? He is alluding, I believe, to the Crusades there. Because remember, the Crusades were Christian folks. Killing and maiming and murdering and shit. Yet they claim it's the Muslim who they want everybody to believe what they believe. Fuck that. That's exactly not the truth. Type in the comments now the last time a Muslim knocked on your door and asked you what you knew about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and your answer will be never. You see? But we all have stories of running from Jehovah's Witnesses. And oh my God, here comes the Christians, close the blinds. You see? Or there they are handing out a pamphlet in the fucking post office. Or you're coming out of the grocery store. Do you know the Lord? Bitch, you know to get out my face? Because if I stand here and lecture you, you will lose and you will want to run. So stand down. You see what I'm saying? He says, are you trying to create another crescent cross conflict? If you have such intentions,
böyle bir gayretin içerisindeyseniz biliniz ki
know that this nation is not dead.
ölmedi.
I want to know where this is. That's a major crowd right there.
Bu millet
This nation is still standing.
dimdik ayakta. Ve yine
And
aynı
again, in the
şekilde
same way,
aynı
and with the same
kararlılıkta
determination,
Libya'da ne
know that what we are in Libya. So I guess this is Libya. Know that what we are in Libya.
Karabağ
What we are in Karabakh.
da neysek bilesin
We are the same in the Middle East.
ki Orta Doğu'da doğuyuz. Şimdi
Now we are witnessing the same truths in Gaza.
aynı hakikatlere Gazze'de şahit oluyoruz. Batı dünya
The Western world, from its politicians to its media,
Gazze'deki çocuk, kadın,
has mobilized
masum
to
katliamını
legitimize the
meşrulaştırmak
massacre
için siyasetçisinden
of innocent women and children.
seferber oldu. İsrail tam 22 gün
Shit stain in the desert has been openly committing
açıkça savaş
war
suçu
crimes
işliyor.
for a full 2 days. 22 days, I'm sorry. For a full 22 days. Now the shit stain in the desert, we are also going to declare
İsrail, biz de seni savaş suçlusu
you as a war criminal to the world.
olarak dünyaya ilan edeceğiz. Şimdi bunu
We're currently preparing for this. Where is this, y'all? We gotta know. Hold up. Turkish president. Okay, it's in Turkey. Well, let me make sure. Because just he's Turkish president doesn't mean he's speaking. Turkish president Recep somebody Endogen condemn the international communities. Okay, this is in Turkey. It's in Turkey. So maybe this is like in Istanbul or something like that. Let's go on. We're currently preparing for this.
hazırlığı içindeyiz. Bunun
We're working on
çalışmasını
it.
yapıyoruz ve savaş suçlusu olarak
And we will unveil
İsrail'i
Israel as a
dünyaya
war criminal
tanıtacağız.
to the global community.
Şimdi açık
Now I
konuşuyorum.
speak openly.
Bilhassa
Especially
son 10
in the
yıldır
last 10 years.
terörle mücadele
Despite
adına ne
everything we have
yaptıysak,
done,
hangi
damn it, now they want to speed up. Nah, bitch.
yapıyoruz ve savaş
When I'm sitting there waiting to pause it, it goes like 5 minutes before they change the shit. Then I just let it go. Then they want to speed up lightning speed. You see? I mean, damn it, the white man's the devil. All right. We are still unveiling, and we will unveil Israel as a war criminal
olarak İsrail'i dünyaya tanıtacağız.
to the global community.
Şimdi açık
Now I speak
konuşuyorum.
openly. Especially in the last 10 years. And again, notice the scarf he's wearing. I pointed out to you earlier in the piece that this is the iconic scarf that Yasser Arafat wore all the time. It's become like an official symbol of Palestine. You know, it's just as iconic as their flag.
Bilhassa son 10 yıldır
It's synonymous, you know.
terörle mücadele
Despite everything we have done
adına ne
in
yaptıysak,
the name of counterterrorism,
hangi
and regardless of whatever success we have
başarıyı
achieved,
kazandıysak bunlara
we have realized despite them,
rağmen gerçekleştirdik. İnşallah
Allah willing, from now on, we'll move on with the slogan. But you hear that he said, inshallah. Hear that.
İnşallah.
You see that? Inshallah. But what the real translation should be, with the will of Allah, not God willing. You see? I'll shut up, Jedi. Just keep going. Because when I know stuff I want to share, yeah. Okay, I got to say this. Damn it. All right. This is why I've taught you over the years also, everybody. Thankfully, I speak Arabic and Spanish. Those are the only two languages I can vouch for. But they're important because they allow me to proclaim what I've proclaimed to you over the years. A lot of times when you're watching a program and they let the person start speaking, and then here comes the translator voiceover. We're always so and so, and you think that's what the person is saying. How many times have I caught when I'm like, that's not what they just said. That's not what they said. That's not it. You feel me? So that lays the foundation for other languages that I don't understand. I know they lie, and so if it's a language I definitely don't know, then I know then that's just all of it's a lie. You feel me? Damn it. But he says, inshallah, from now on, we'll move on with the slogan of, quote, we may suddenly arrive at your door one night. We will continue to move forward on the path we have drawn. So much so that Gaza, with the 53 martyrs it gave, he said shaheed. You see, shaheed is martyr. He said shaheed. I don't know why they just didn't put that. I'm over it. And the battle of Gallipoli in World War I outnumbers most of the cities within our borders. Unfortunately, they separated us from all these lands.
Kanımız kadar, canımız kadar, sevdamız kadar kendimiz.
As dear to us as our blood, as our lives, and as our love.
Tüm bu topraklardan ne yazık ki ayırdılar. Sadece
they didn't just physically separate
fiziki olarak ayırmakla kalmadılar. Zihnimizden
with anything
ve kalbimizden sökmek için de her türlü
of our minds and hearts.
Fırıldağa çevirdiler. Milyonlar
we must never forget the lessons we learned
insanımızın hayatını kaybetti.
The dark days when millions
evlerini bırakıp Anadolu'ya
of our people in Palestine lost their lives.
Sığınmak zorunda kaldığı kara günlerden
and millions of others had to abandon their homes and seek refuge in Anatolia.
Unutmamalıyız.
Okay, that was the end of it. Okay, we'll move on. Again, going with now the narrative, one of my main themes in this piece is their battle to control the narrative, everybody. You see? But also at the same time, simultaneously exhibiting the how embedded and infected this virus, the stench of humanity that these fucking Zionists are. Here is a sister, a Palestinian journalist, who worked for Global News, and she was fired over her social media post. Hear this.
I've got some personal news to share. So Global News fired me for speaking up about Palestine on my social media accounts. Being their only Palestinian journalist in the newsroom, I thought my voice would matter the most to them during these times. But maybe I was mistaken. On the day of October 17, exactly as we Palestinians We're counting the deaths from the Baptist Hospital massacre that took the lives of over 500 people in Gaza. I was on a phone call with a senior leader at Global to be told I'm fired for everything I've been posting. Not a single word of sympathy, no regard to the humanitarian crisis, the genocide the world is witnessing and that I'm personally affected by. I was told to take down every post and comment with hashtag Free Palestine, Gaza Genocide, and Gaza Under Attack, saying that my posts make me look unbalanced. I was told the problem is with me expressing my beliefs, my opposition for Israel's genocide of my people. Global was literally asking me to look at these horrific images, this genocide, and detach myself from my identity, my own people, and say nothing. Is this ethical or moral, humane or diverse or inclusive? I don't even know. Reason number 2 for firing me was this. I got an email from an employee to come to an investigation. Let's call her Kay. And honestly, I felt so disrespected and neglected as a Palestinian employee of this organization. Not a single word of sympathy from anyone on an organizational level, but instead investigations, reminders about social media policies, demands to stop posting. So in my response to Kay, I included this screenshot of a post from Sean King, telling Kay that this image of a dead Gazan baby has been my reality and my people's reality for 75 years. I was trying to hopefully get anybody to understand or sympathize or respect my pain, my people's suffering. Unfortunately, instead of sympathizing, Kay focused on her personal feelings and found it disrespectful of me to send her such a disturbing image. Moreover, everyone I spoke to at this company was outraged at me for sending such a disturbing image.
You see, they're nothing but stinking Zionists at this Global News. Nothing but, and no doubt, white demons. You see, because that's what fucking Zionists are. They're just nothing but white people. That's it.
And they literally fired me for it. I was even told by my own union representative that even if that image was my reality, I had no right to make it the reality of that employee. I mean, do we matter at all? No one in this workplace would even acknowledge my pain. I'm being told that my people and I should suffer in silence and die quietly, not to disturb others. We have no right. This is not about silencing me. It's about us, about silencing all of us, all of what I was representing in that newsroom.
If I had any advice for her, I would say, do you have any evidence of anybody speaking in any terms of any kind or making any statements in any way about any event of 7th October and since? Anything uttered, or was it just never discussed? If we have even one utterance, that's a lawsuit. One. All we need is one. Any utterance by any fucking body in that building, that's it.
All of us, all of what I was representing in that newsroom. I have no regrets. I'm not the first, not the last journalist to be fired for speaking up about Palestine. Seeing a genocide before my eyes and saying nothing might be unbalanced according to some standards, but that's unethical. A policy that tells me to shut up about the killing of my own people is unethical. I cannot possibly stay silent while witnessing this injustice.
Amen.
I think this organization has failed me as a Palestinian, as a journalist, as a racialized journalist. But this is not just about me. I ask you to please take a moment, send an email to Global, asking them respectfully to not fail the Palestinians in their storytelling.
Boom. Wow. Wow. You see, the collusion is so widespread. The collusion. But we need to take note and keep record of all these various individuals, organizations. It doesn't matter. You understand? And they should be dealt with. Because when it's all over, they want everybody to just forget and move on. Fuck that. There needs to come a time across this earth where white people are not allowed to go on after their bullshit. They must be chastised and dealt with. Do you understand? They must be dealt with and receive the wrath of humanity for their bullshit and all of the strife they've reaped upon and are reaping upon humanity. That needs to happen. That needs to happen. Now you need to see this white devil. This is the former Israeli ambassador to Italy. Quote, the purpose is to destroy Gaza. Listen to this vomit, everybody. We don't need the vomit to be very loud because he's speaking in fucking Hebrew or something, or some vomit that no human could understand because their language is devilish. Remember, they don't even really speak Hebrew. It's more of a mix of this Yiddish, German, and Hebrew, or it's a mishmash. It's not even a pure language. It's bullshit. It's the language of devils. He says, I would like to say that we in Israel, so that's everybody, at least the population, so that's being even more, that's everybody, not the, you see, are not interested in all this rational Palestinian talks.
In tutti questi discorsi razionali palestinesi e tutti che
for us there is one purpose.
Per noi c'è uno scopo.
Wait for it. To destroy Gaza, to destroy this absolute evil. But I want you to also chew gum and walk at the same time, everybody. Because one of the things that you see, white people never miss an opportunity to exploit any event, and we should be taking a page out of that book. So in this hour, we should be collecting and storing and archiving all the shit they're saying and all the shit that America is backing up, so that when we now say anybody that puts a hand on black people should be fucking killed in this bitch. And we have the right to defend ourselves. You see? And just like 1,000 years from now, they can claim that they are still the holy people from the thousands of years ago of the fucking Torah. Well, we still the slaves of Africa, bitch. But you tell us to get over it. If their shit is now, our shit is now. You feel me? And we'll crush anybody who tries to say it ain't that. Don't start none, it won't be none. Get the fuck out the way. You feel me? That's where we should be. We should be strategizing and planning a united force to annihilate our fucking enemy in this bitch. To offer real resistance. Fuck sitting around asking for reparations. We take the shit. We make a demand. You see? And there's many ways to achieve that objective. If we abstain from the political process completely, they'll be at our doors. You see? Just like they were trying to give you a check to get the fucking vaccine and all the bullshit. They'll be trying to give you a card to fucking vote. We can bring this white devil to their knees. They don't do well when they receive resistance. They lose their mind. You see, he's almost having an aneurysm there. What's that? I'm being told in my ear by my person in the field who was on the set there, said he did have an aneurysm and was rushed out by a medical team last minute. I don't want to get it. All right. So he said the objective is to destroy Gaza, to destroy this absolute evil. They always project themselves on you. They are the definition of evil and the incarnate of the devil. But let's go on. Well, I'll turn it up so you can hear his tone. You feel me? To destroy this. There is no chance that after here they go trying to use the Holocaust. Fuck their Holocaust bullshit. Like I said, that shit was 3.5 years in one fucking place, bitch. That's like a car accident that happened down the street yesterday. That shit was right there, nothing else to see. That's all gone. Just like you take down your Christmas tree until the fucking next year. But they want to roll this shit out every 5 minutes and get this ultimate sympathy. Fuck these people. You understand? Especially us as Africans. If anybody else wants to have sympathy for them, have at it, Hoss. But you'll get nothing from African people. Fuck you. And definitely nothing from Muslims. There is no chance that after the Holocaust, Jewish people, which you're not a fucking Jew, you're a goddamn Zionist and a murdering lizard. See, he used that to give himself cover after he's calling for the total destruction of Gaza. Then he uses the fucking Holocaust. Fuck that.
Ambasciatore, mi scusi, però mi scusi. No.
Will live a similar experience as they were 80 years ago.
No.
In così situazione,
Faccia dire a me.
così situazione come che era 80 anni fa, vorrei dire.
After 7th October,
Sono stanco di questi discorsi, vorrei dirti così. Cioè? Sotto
every person in the world, hear the language, everybody. Every person in the world who threatens a Jew,
dopo il 7 ottobre non sarà più la possibilità di ogni persona nel mondo che minaccia un ebreo, ogni persona che minaccia un ebreo
or kills a Jew has to die. I ain't mad. You feel me? It's some bullshit for sure. And his bitch ass needs to die. Hopefully we'll read about his death very soon, inshallah. But for the sake of our argument as Africans, we want to keep that same energy, bitch. We want to keep that same energy when we start our shit. When we have our moment of defending ourselves. You see, we have the right to defend ourselves, you see. Has to die, said the fucking fork-tongued lizard. Fuck these people, man. Fuck these people. Fuck them. Fuck them. No, we have to see this, everybody. And I don't know how much further we're going to go because there's a lot to bring, you guys. And I don't do my videos in 2 parts because my audience is lazy as fuck. I'll see the number on the first video of views and then the number on the second video is a waste of my fucking time. I don't do this for my health, everybody. And I don't make shit doing it. I do this out of my passion for the truth and what is right, and out of my love for you and elevating your education and consciousness. Sharing what Allah gives to me with you. That's it. That's the whole formula for the Jedi. There. You have it. You have it. I just gave you it all. That's it. Having said that, so I don't know how far I'm in now. I don't know what my timestamp is. I don't know how long I've been at this. I've been at this shit like all day. And 2 days, because now it's 3:43 a.m. Tuesday, October 31st, El Dia de los Muertos. And, you know, whatever. I'm going to do my thing, and Allahu Alam. This is important because this hospital is still being contested. You know, they tell you that, well, we had to strike a house because Hamas is under the house. Well, look, they're under the school. They're under the hospital. They're in your closet. They're in your back seat. Oh my God, it's Hamas. It's literally that. You see, anything you could throw at them, well, it was Hamas. So here's a doctor who worked in the hospital saying, if there's a command center of this fucking hospital, then release the fucking evidence and show us. You've got all the x-rays and all the military bullshit and the surveillance. Show us. Or shut the fuck up. Now, we'll hear this now. Hear this. I'll shut up.
I will ask President Netanyahu to put on the table the proofs and the evidence that there is a control and command center for the Palestinian resistance in Shifa Hospital. We have heard these claims since 2009. We have twice been threatened to leave Shifa Hospital in 2009 and 2014 because the Israelis were going to bomb it because it was a command center. Now, I have been working in Shifa for 16 years on and off, in very hectic periods. I've been able to walk freely around. I take lots of pictures, I video film. I've been sleeping in the hospital during bombardment. I've been all over. I've never been restricted, controlled. Nobody has ever controlled my picture and documentation material. So, well, if there is a command center, show us. You have pictures and x-ray films of all Gaza, all the tunnels, everything. So why is it that these 16 years of threats that Shifa is a command center has not been given any evidence at all that it de facto is now? If it was a military command center, I would not work there because I obey to the Geneva Convention, number one. Number two, if the Israelis claim that this is a mixed military-civilian target, because obviously it is civilian, with tens of thousands of people gathering there and 2,000 patients being treated. If it is a mixed military-civilian target, the civilian precautions take priority over the military. So in accordance with the Geneva Convention, you can't bomb hospitals unless they have very clear military functions. What is this? 2023, 2.5 million, 2.2 million people, civilian, unarmed people being killed. A child killed every 10 minutes. So far today, the number of killed Palestinian children is 3,324, and there are missing.
That's children. That's just the children.
2,062 Palestinian children in Gaza. That's 5,300 Palestinian children killed in 3 weeks.
This is ethnic cleansing also, everybody. Because remember I said to you, they've taken out, we're hearing all these huge numbers of children because they don't want, because those children are going to grow up and fucking kill their ass. Inshallah. You see? Because all they've known is suffering. And when they come of age, then there will be not this manufactured boogeyman. It's going to be real. You feel me? We coming to avenge our fathers and our own childhoods for all the shit your bitch asses have done. You see? They're trying to kill the children that are born. They're trying to kill the women so they don't have more children. This is ethnic cleansing. It's how you get rid of a population. Because notice, you keep hearing about women and children, more than any other thing we ever hear about in a natural disaster, a war, anything. We're hearing more about women and children in this bullshit than any other thing we've ever heard of. And this I offer to you, I suggest to you, is the reason. This I suggest to you. This I suggest to you. But I love that he said, after 16 years of this bullshit and threats, show us your evidence that this is some military command center for Hamas. Show us. Show us. They don't have it. They don't have it. Just like we don't have any pictures or video or anything. We don't have any images of anybody injured in fucking Israel. We don't have it. It didn't happen. These people hate the fuck out of Palestinians because they are nothing but racist fucking devils. You understand? White racists. They cannot stand them. And they just want them obliterated off the earth. We have no fucking sympathy for their fucking Holocaust. Because they don't have any respect for it. They don't have any respect for it. And when you don't respect your own shit, don't nobody else respect you either, bitch. That's just the law. That's just the law. Period. I'm over it. Now, I don't know if this is the same prime minister we just saw his bitch ass on that program, because they all look like fucking skinhead Nazis, because they are Nazis. Oops. They're all Nazis. You understand? They are the same as the motherfuckers they claim oppressed and fucking persecuted their bitch ass in fucking Germany. They are the same fucking people. Period. We see that by their actions. Because what makes this any different? This is actually worse than their bullshit ass Holocaust. There'll be no argument on that shit. None at all. Now, but I don't know, but he's definitely a skinhead Nazi, so hear this now. And then I'll check my time and I'll decide if we're going to move on, everybody. If we're not, I'll do a summation and then I will tie up the loose ends and have more to present in our next live sitting. But let's see this now. Hear this now. Hear this, hear this, hear this.
What about those Palestinians in hospital who are on life support, and babies and incubators whose life support and incubator will have to be turned off because the Israelis have cut the power to Gaza?
Are you seriously keep on asking me about Palestinian civilians? What's wrong with you? Have you not seen what happened? We're fighting Nazis. We don't target them. Now the world.
You see, he's using the term Nazi. The other skinhead I just showed you used the Holocaust word. These people are just sympathy exploiters and shit. You feel me? It's like when I was in high school band, there was always one bitch. I don't care what major competition we was in, where you really got to be on fucking point. And we were the #1 band in the world, literally, because in my sophomore year, we won the International Music Olympic competition. It was a 5-day event in Anaheim, California. Another band hosted our band, and other bands were hosting other bands. 156 bands from all over the world. And our high school marched away with the top award, Allahu Akbar. Because I was a member of the band, of course. Otherwise, they wouldn't have won. It was me and my French horn talents. You can read about that. It's all in the archives. It's all there. But I don't want to make this about me. I don't want to get into that. But I lost my train of thought. What the fuck is I about? What point was I going to make? And invariably, wallahi, there was always one bitch, either a clarinet or a saxophone player or some flute bitch, a white bitch, of course, that had to have some special brace that she was marching with, or a hand something that stood her out. I didn't think the bitches just did it so it'd be easier for their parents to fucking photograph their ass when we were in major parades. You know, like we marched when we did the Rose Parade and things like that. You know, that's an image that goes across the earth, and your band is coming down fucking Colorado Boulevard. I mean, you know, it was always a bitch, you know, that was everybody's, oh my God, are you okay? And all the other white bitches canoodling and, you know, I will lose a tooth and vomit up everything I've ever eaten for the last 5 years if I keep telling you this story. It's so disgusting to me and I cannot stand it. But I cite that because, you know, they are kind of whores for sympathy because they don't really got shit that's really a stress thing for them in life as a whole. You feel me? There's some individuals that are struggling and the struggle is real, but that don't mean shit. You see? Because just like they judge people as a whole group, I judge white people as a whole fucking group as one. You understand? I do unto others as they do unto me. You fuck that other shit. And so this is what we see with these fucking fake ass Jews, because again, they're fake. These are not the Jews, everybody. These are Zionist fucking people. And let's be clear that none of them are Semitic, be they Zionist or Orthodox. They are not Semitic. You've got some Semitic, the Semitic people are going to be your Arabs that are in Africa. You see, any Jew there, born there, going back, like you didn't come there in fucking the 20s and shit like that. I'm talking about you've been there since Moses and shit. Like now you are Semitic. You see? but then you're going to look like me and not like your white ass. So then there's that detail. I don't want to get into that. All right, hear this now. This fucking Nazi fucking white supremacist
hospital who are on life support, and babies and incubators whose life support and incubator will have to be turned.
And he can't even offer, that's very sad, and we're so heartbroken over that, and we pray for them, but we're also concerned about our losses on our, that would be, you could do that, but he can't even do that. This is how intense their hatred is. This is about race, everybody. It's about race. I tell you, everything is about race for white people. It has to be, because they are the extreme minority on this place called Earth. Nobody under the sound of my voice should ever call themselves a minority. Ever. And don't allow yourself to be called a minority by anybody white ever. Say, no, bitch, you're the extreme minority in humanity. So where are you? What are you talking about? What? Not understanding. You see, hear this. I'll try and shut up. I'll try.
Turn off because the Israelis have cut the power to Gaza.
Are you seriously keep on asking me about Palestinian civilians? What's wrong with you? Have you not seen what happened? We're fighting Nazis. We don't target them. Now, the world can come and bring them anything they want. If you want to bring them electricity, I'm not going to feed electricity or water to my enemies. If anyone else wants, that's fine. We're not responsible.
I'm not sure what's happening. Naftali Bennett defends Gaza siege killing of Palestinians. So this is another fuck. Or is that the same bastard? It's the same asshole. Let's see what his name was. Naftali Bennett. This is the same asshole. That's him without hair. And this is still his fucked up looking ass who can't get a female with a receding fucking hairline. And he's a fat walrus and on top of everything. I mean, there's a lot of crimes happening right there. I mean, you can't even story the indictments we'd have to file just on how his fucking picture looks. I don't want to get into that. Couldn't do without the CSI music. We're fighting Nazis and not, okay, I thought I saw this clip someplace else. It wasn't with all this music and shit. Why did you start off with the talking and then you typing shit? Like, I don't do music videos.
We're fighting Nazis.
I always give them a thumbs down.
Absolutely not. You are
Wait now.
about a very
okay, now they want
You're trying to speak. I'm asking the questions.
After they finish with the, what was that? Sculler and Muller and Scully or something like that? The X-Files. That's X-Files music, bitch.
I've had a conversation here. Listen, this is my program. This is my show. And I am asking the questions. You're raising your voice. And I've asked you. And we've already stopped, please. And let me finish. We've already distinguished between Hamas.
I want to tell you,
you're trying to speak over. No.
Look at the grin on his face. Look at that, everybody. Another reason why you want to just fuck these people up is because there's this arrogance. If you see how the white demon settlers, so before you even get to the government and all that, after you deal with that, just regular ass, run-of-the-mill, inferior ass fucking white people looking like Neanderthals just going there and still setting up settlements in Gaza. How they have this unabashed arrogance. It's a joy because white people are sick like that. There's no other culture of people that just randomly attacks people just for their joy and shit. All of humanity is responding to this virus known as fucking white people on the earth. All of humanity doesn't realize it. But I think slowly waking up. Because even from a lot of the leaders in Africa, when I watch their big gatherings, whether it's at the UN or they have their own gatherings in Africa, things like that, big gatherings of leaders, I'm hearing more and more white. They used to just say Western, Europe. Now I'm hearing white. I'm hearing it. As I've taught you over the years, Language matters. Language, everybody. Because how you, the language that you use is very important. It also reveals the heart and the intention. Do you understand? And how you think and speak is how you relate and react. When more of our people begin to identify white as the problem, they will act on that.
Shame on you.
It's nothing about shame. We're trying to have a conversation about a very serious situation here, and you are refusing to address it.
Jump over immediately, and again,
absolutely not.
Narrative.
You are. What about those Palestinians in hospital who are on life support, and babies and incubators whose life support and incubator will have to be turned off because the Israelis have cut the power to Gaza?
Are you seriously keep on asking me about Palestinian civilians? What's wrong with you? Have you not seen what happened? We're fighting Nazis. We don't target them. Now, the world can come and bring them anything they want. If you want to bring them electricity, I'm not going to feed electricity.
I wish the presenter had said, you know, it's interesting you call them Nazis because you're acting and looking just like a fucking Nazi right now. Could you lift your shirt? I'm sure there's a swastika. Could you just do that for the viewers at home? If you could just show us, we'd love to get a shot of that if you just don't mind. And just be very dead ass about it.
Or water to my enemies. If anyone else wants, that's fine. We're not responsible for them.
This is the point.
But you
this
keep
is the
on.
point.
You,
no, Mr.
I want to tell you. No, listen. You listen
you're
to me
raising
right
your
now.
voice,
I've
and we're
heard you enough.
No, I understand. We're trying to have a conversation here. Listen, this is my program. This is my show. And I am asking the questions. You're raising your voice, and I've asked you, and we've already...
And by the way, this brother's doing his best. I'm going to give him a few points for this. You feel me? A few. You see what I'm saying? But then he's going to have to go and talk to Donna Lemon, even though she's out of business now, and it's all fine with her Louboutin heels and her white lover and all of it. I don't want to get into that. But Donna could push back. You're not going to run her show. I have to give it over to Don Lemon for that shit. He could flex when he needed to flex. And this brother, I don't know his history. I only know him from this clip. But you're going to need to flex harder, homie. You need to really flex as a black man and then as an anchor person. That the first as an African. You feel me? Tell him, look, you need to you're not going to talk over me. This is my show, or we can just cut your mic and be over it. You see, how many times I've seen Don Lemon say, cut his mic, cut his mic, cut his mic, you know, and then be like, if you want to have a conversation, I'll bring back your mic and you can have a conversation. The person's just there fucking yelling and screaming that you can't hear shit. Donna Lemon, you go, Don, you go.
We've already stopped, please. Let me finish. We've already distinguished between Hamas.
I want to tell you, shame.
You don't stop, man. You continue to talk over his bitch ass.
You're trying to speak over me.
We are not. Shame on you.
It's nothing about.
See, he's looking at a producer and probably a co-anchor. No, nigga, stay focused on the camera and dress this fucking white devil down. He is beneath you.
Shame. We're trying to have a conversation about a very serious situation here, and you are refusing to address it.
Jump over immediately, and again, you
absolutely not. You are incorrect.
They are responsible because I can tell you that when the UK,
absolutely
when Great Britain was fighting the Nazis,
they're seizing this so vigorously, everybody, because they need this as finally we can just finally go in and just genocide them off because we really wanted the whole fucking thing. Because remember, you can't just give white people one slice of pizza and move the fuck on. They come back and burn your house for the entire fucking pizza. This is who the fuck they are. You see? So they've been wanting the entire land since forever. Since their white asses started showing up with their stinking shit. And so this is their one moment in time that they want to cease to this. We've been attacked. Look, please have something for us so we can fucking massacre them off. We've been attacked. Nah, bitch. You haven't even shown us any evidence of that even. Nothing. And with every hour that passes, more of the world is turning against their bitch ass. I'm seeing more Palestinian scars and flags in countries that are not in Palestine than you would ever think would exist outside of a country that is not that country. I mean, subhanallah, Allahu Akbar.
During World War II, no one asked what's going on.
Fuck that. Again, that World War II. Fuck you, bitch. We talking about 2023, nigga. You wasn't even born then, so you have nothing to do with that. Because that same motherfucker, if you talk to him about reparations, well, I didn't have anything to do with it. I was in there, and you weren't a slave, and you were. Well, fuck you, bitch. You see? The double forked tongue of this white devil, everybody.
Going on in Dresden. It was the Nazis targeting London, and you targeted Dresden. So
Listen,
shame on you if you go on with that false narrative.
we're not talking about that, and in hindsight, many people have listened.
This is
And in
propaganda. Cut
hindsight,
his
many
mic.
people have readdressed that kind of carpet
the heads
bombing.
Of babies. Oh, I see. Now you're Mr. Clean. Shame on you.
Absolutely
We
not. And
will
I'm not.
not
Listen,
target-
Mr. Bennett, I am not in the military. I am a journalist
You're not in
asking
the
you
military.
questions. Are you going to let me ask you a question, or are you continue shouting at me? We've already distinguished between Hamas and the Palestinians. I'm asking you very directly.
What do you want to ask?
Is going to be done to make sure that those innocent people don't get killed as innocent Jewish people were killed on Saturday?
Well, we're going to target Hamas, and we're telling Hamas that if you use any...
And you notice they all Hamas. They have to add that shit to make themselves sound like they're fucking more exotic, and they're not just the fucking Neanderthals that walking out of a goddamn cave. Fuck white people.
Anyone as your human shield, and you're going to shoot at us using human shields, that it's their responsibility. Listen, mister, if someone is shooting...
Then he's adding the human shields now. Like, ooh, Hamas is behind the people. Look, they're under your shoe. Ooh, they're under the school. They're under the mosque. They're under the hospital. They're under all the shit that you need to survive.
Shooting at your children and hiding behind a human shield, will you shoot back or not? I'm asking you a question. Someone's shooting at your children, but hiding behind civilians.
Meanwhile, we have evidence of these Nazi fucking Israeli soldiers taking Palestinians and using them as human shields. We have absolute evidence of that documented. But when they speak, it's all made up, because all white people do is lie and make shit up.
What's the answer? What would you do?
Mr. Bennett, I'm not here to answer your questions. I've asked you your questions, and you have not answered them directly. All right, we'll stop. We'll leave it there.
Perfect. Appreciate the shade the brother showed at the end. It made him. That was good. That was good. All right, hold on, you guys. All right, get one of who's back there. All right, get one of my Emmys and send it out to whatever news organization. You just get one of the Emmys. Just one. All right, send 2 of them. All right. I mean, when you got as many as Emmys as me, you just, you like to do charity work. You just like to do that. Israel forcing Palestinians to starve to death. Yep. These people are demons, everybody. I don't have no sympathy for any of these motherfuckers in this illegal land heist called Israel. Fuck these people. They have eroded any human sympathy you would naturally have for people if they were legitimately under any type of siege or any type of distress, but this is the devil. I don't have no sympathy for a fucking cobra or rattlesnake, and to me they're lower than that. They're definitely beneath my fucking feet. So I don't have no sympathy for the bitch ass. I wish Hamas was doing all the things that they claimed that Hamas was doing. But obviously they're not. You mean in 75 years, Hamas couldn't have massacred some of y'all motherfuckers off in big numbers? I don't believe that. Because it seems to me if they had the capacity, your ass would have been non-existent a long time ago. That's just what the facts are. Let me check my time here, everybody. And even not just the time, but just for the sake of this production, but also for the fact that it's after 4 o'clock in the morning, and I need to take my bitch ass to sleep. Like, what am I doing? Subhanallah, man. You know, make sure you thumbs up this video, everybody. You know, show respect for my work. Damn, you know. I mean, respect my fucking journey. Let me check my time. So we're over 3 hours, and I don't care. But I will start landing, everybody, because to the credit of my audience, you know, way back in 2014 into 15 when I started doing YouTube videos, you know, I would just do short videos for the most part. But then my videos started getting longer, and first people would bitch. And then I began to articulate that, just a second, you can't put a time frame on knowledge. But not only that, I don't waste time in my videos with a bunch of bullshit. I keep it pushing. And my audience evolved and grew with me. The most glorious thing that happened is when people start complaining when the videos weren't long. Jedi, we like your longer videos, you know. So, to your credit, I thank you all for that. But in the interest of my own health, and I'm tired as hell, you know, I need to start landing this. But I wanted to juxtapose the American side now, the propaganda. I'm not going to do 3 hours on that, obviously, but I want to at least lay the foundation so that when we have our live sitting, then I can expound more upon that. Just, you know, focusing on the American propaganda, what voices in America are saying on the political side, the civilian side, what groups are saying, and things like that, to offer a rounded picture of the two-sided, their two-headed demon. Because whether it's in America or Israel or France or any place where white people are at, they're the same fucking people. The same. This now, because, you know, they've silenced any, you have to watch foreign media, which is all I do. Because I know what the fucking American press is saying. But every once again, you have to check in to see what your enemy is saying. And so this was a rare thing because the tide is turning. You've got millions of people across the earth in various countries and continents saying bullshit. You see, and speaking with the same fervor and passion that I'm speaking with, denouncing fucking Israel and its very existence and everything that it stands for. You understand? And defending the honor and the humanity of the Palestinian people. So, every once again, they have to look like they're balanced and fair and shit. A term they love. This is from lying ass CNN. Alright. This is Fareed Zakaria. I'm over it. I just lost a tooth saying his name. Nurse! Alright. But hear this now, because he dared to have on a pro-Palestinian position. Clutch the pearls. Roll the clip.
Israeli territory. Political leader Ismail Haniyeh has blamed the violence squarely on Israel's occupation of Palestinian land. For another Palestinian viewpoint, I wanted to bring in Dr. Mustafa Barghouti. He is a former information minister.
For another Palestinian point of view, clutch the pearl. Oh my God, I'd say alert the press, but they're already alerted.
Haniyeh has blamed the violence squarely on Israel's occupation of Palestinian land.
That's the kiss hug thing that I always tell you that Muslims do, everybody. This is how we greet. You know?
Ismail Haniyeh has blamed the violence squarely on Israel's occupation of
And it's proper to offer blessings with each cheek, you see. So when you go up to another brother, you would offer your right cheek against his right cheek. You know, you may say Salam Alaikum. When you go to his left cheek, you may say Barakallah. You may drop your microphone. That could happen. All right. I don't want to get into that. And then you go back to the other cheek, you may say Baraka Fik or Alhamdulillah, something that glorifies Allah and reaps blessings on that brother as well. All right. So that's over the years, you always hear me saying, you know, and we do this hug kiss thing, and you'll see me do the motion, you know, in midair as if somebody's in front of me, which there isn't. But this is an example of that.
Palestinian land.
Right there.
For another Palestinian viewpoint, I wanted to bring in Dr. Mustafa Barghouti. He is a former information minister for the Palestinian government.
And to my brothers, it's way deeper than a dap. You understand? We'll just see that again and go on.
Squarely on Israel's occupation of Palestinian land. For another Palestinian viewpoint, I wanted to bring in Dr. Mustafa Barghouti. He is a former information minister for the Palestinian government, which is in control of parts of the West Bank but does not control Gaza. Welcome, Minister. I again want to just make sure that viewers understand that the Palestinian Authority has been an opponent of Hamas, so you are not in any way affiliated with Hamas. You represent the Palestinian Authority, which has control over parts of the West Bank. All that said, what is your reaction to what you have seen so far?
And can we just say Fareed Zakaria has not aged even 5 minutes, and I don't even know the last time I saw him. Like, I don't have cable. I don't even watch CNN online like that. But it's been it's been years since I've seen him, specifically him, and he. All right, cut the crap, Fareed. Where's the fountain of youth? You see. All right, let's go on. So he set up the question, what is your observation of everything you're seeing and what's going on? Go.
Well, first of all, I am not part of the Palestinian Authority. As a matter of fact, I represent a democratic Palestinian movement called Palestinian National Initiative, which is non-Fatah and non-Hamas. And we're of course, I am not affiliated with Hamas. But I think this situation that has evolved is a direct result of the continuation of the longest occupation in modern history. Israeli occupation of Palestinian land since 1967. This is 56 years of occupation that has transformed into a system of apartheid.
It's 75 years and it's since before 1967. We'll forgive him his error. Go on.
A much worse apartheid than what prevailed in South Africa. Yes, maybe Hamas did not recognize Israel, but the PLO did, and the Palestinian Authority did. What did they get? Nothing. Since 2004.
So, just so that I do the dissertation for you, he's saying what I said to you earlier in the piece, when I was showing you and citing for you part of your homework, the documentary you're going to watch on killing Yasser Arafat. I was saying, like, he was like the Dr. King. Like, let's go to the peace talks. Let's try and establish peace and this and the bullshit. And Hamas was like, fuck that peace bullshit. It's time to throw bones, homie. It's time to throw them elbows. You see? And he's saying, you know, the PLO was going to these meetings, and what did they get for it? Nothing. Because, again, white people don't keep their agreements. If they have a pulse, they are lying. You should never trust them.
It's 56 years of occupation that has transformed into a system of apartheid, a much worse apartheid than what prevailed in South Africa. Yes, maybe Hamas did not recognize Israel, but the PLO did. And
the PLO recognized Israel, gave them that. They wanted recognition. We recognize us as a state. So they did that. And he says, what did they get for it?
The Palestinian Authority did. What did they get? Nothing. Since 2014, the Israeli governments would not even meet with Palestinians. And what you see today is a reaction to several things. First of all, settlers' terrorist attacks on Palestinians in the West Bank that has evicted already 20 communities in an act of ethnic cleansing. 248 Palestinians who were killed by the Israeli army and settlers in the West Bank, including 40 children, attacks on the holy sites, the Muslim and Christian holy sites by Israeli extremists, as well as declaration of Netanyahu that he will liquidate the Palestinian rights and the Palestinian cause by normalization with Arab countries. And he dared even to go to the United Nations and carried in the United Nations a map of Israel, which included the whole of the West Bank, all of Gaza, all of Jerusalem, as well as the Golan Heights. He declared the annexation of the occupied territories. So of course Palestinians turn to resistance because they see that this is the only way for them to get their rights. The question here is not about dehumanizing Palestinians as is happening and calling them terrorists. It's about asking the question, why the United States supports Ukraine in fighting what they call occupation, while here they are supporting the occupier who continues to occupy us.
Boom. Boom. Boom. Gave the history, the reason, and pointed out the goddamn hypocrisy. And my answer to his rhetorical question is that because they are not white. Remember, it was all about the Ukrainians, and we just have to pour out our hearts for Ukraine. And what did I say from day one? Fuck Ukraine. Well, this is white people's bullshit. This is white people fighting white people. We don't give a fuck. You see? And then what materialized after that? We saw the images coming out of Ukraine of the Ukrainians that were trying to evacuate, and they were stopping black Africans who were trying to evacuate. You can't get on the train. You don't get on the bus. You don't get to be on. You see what I'm saying? Fuck white people, man. Across the fucking earth. This is their behavior. Whether they're Ukrainian, Russian, Israeli, German, American, they're all fucking Neanderthalic ass fucking white demons to me. I make no distinction at all. Now, this is from this current thing. I want to go back 8 months now and show you a clip of the only Orthodox Jew. Listen, why isn't Bernie Sanders being called? Bernie, quick, come and step up and speak for the Israelis. No, because he's an Orthodox Jew. He's not a goddamn Zionist. So hear what Bernie Sanders had to say 8 months ago. All right, on Face the Nation. Let's go. Let's roll that clip.
I want to ask you about some issues on foreign policy. The CIA director, Bill Burns, recently said that the uptick in violence in Israel and Palestinian territories reminds him of the last Intifada, that there could be an explosion of violence. Israel now is the most right-wing government it's had in years.
I am very worried about what Netanyahu is doing and some of his allies in government and what may happen to the Palestinian people. And let me tell you something, I mean, I haven't said this publicly, but I think the United States gives billions of dollars in aid to Israel. And I think we've got to put some strings attached to that and say you cannot run a racist government. You cannot turn your back on the two-state solution. You cannot demean the Palestinian people there. You just can't do it and then come to America and ask for money.
Has the administration...
Again, fuck dumb-ass, uneducated, politically unsavvy ass black people. It's Bernie Sanders or it's Joe Biden. Joe Biden, fuck you. This is the man who should have been president in 2016 and goddammit 2020. This is the dude. He's the only presidential candidate in history that didn't go and lick the ass of Israel and speak before AIPAC, which is what you have to do when you're on the goddamn campaign trail. You see? Bernie Sanders said, I don't need to do that. And they knew why. You see? And that's why they also were so fervent. Anybody but Bernie, for the love of God. Because he's not with this Zionist bullshit. Oh my God, he'll do the right thing. He'll do all the shit that he promised on the campaign trail. Quick, anybody Bernie. Quick, bring in Bloomberg. Put him on the stage. Let him buy his way onto the debate stage. Quick, quick, James Clapper, go down and tell the fucking South Carolinian niggers that Joe Biden is their best friend, even though he fucking authored the 94 crime bill. And it's the reason why most of their goddamn people are in jail for decades even now. Quick, do it, quick. I'll try and shut up. I'll try.
In government and what may happen to the Palestinian people. And let me tell you something, I mean, I haven't said this publicly, but I think the United States gives billions of dollars in aid to Israel. And I think we've got to put some strings attached to that and say you cannot run a racist government. You cannot turn your back on the two-state solution. You cannot demean the Palestinian people there. You just can't do it and then come to America and ask for money.
Have you talked to the administration about it? They've been very careful in criticism of the Netanyahu government.
Well, I am not careful about it.
I am not careful about it. That is Bernard Sanders, the Orthodox Jew.
I'm embarrassed that in Israel you have a government of that nature right now.
And are you going to introduce something?
We may well, yes.
To try to attach strings
Look,
to USA
you cannot give, if you have a, whether it's Saudi Arabia or other authoritarian societies, if a government is acting in a racist way and they want billions of dollars from the taxpayers of the United States, I think you say, sorry, that's not acceptable. You want our money? Fine, this is what you got to do to get it.
The pro-Israel lobby, AIPAC, used to be bipartisan.
AIPAC, that's what I was just telling you about.
But these days, it's got a super PAC that has spent very heavily in Democratic primaries.
Against progressives.
You said
against progressives, and he had to get that because they fucking shut him down in 2016 and 2020. Media blackout, sabotaged them. He was winning everything across this bitch. He raised more money than any other presidential candidate in history and had no super PAC money. That's the dude, everybody. And wallahi uqsubilahul azim, I will go down to my grave saying that the greatest human being that ever ran for president in these United States in my lifetime was Bernard Sanders. I will not be changing on that.
Not acceptable. You want our money? Fine, this is what you got to do to get it.
the pro-Israel lobby, AIPAC, used to be bipartisan. But these days, it's got a super PAC that has spent very heavily in Democratic primaries.
Against progressives.
You said they're doing everything they can to destroy the progressive movement in this country. Do you think the politics around this issue are constraining the White House going into 2024?
The way I look at AIPAC now in terms of their political activities.
Hear that? Hear how crafty she framed the question, everybody. Language. This is why the Jedi speaks. Hear the question again. She just identified that the AIPAC lobby is leaning more Democratic, and she's saying this now.
Very heavily in Democratic primaries. You said
progressives.
Against progressives. Okay.
You said they're doing everything they can to destroy the progressive movement in this country.
Right, because the press, for obvious reasons. But go on.
Do you think the politics around this?
Do you think the politics around this? Hear her question. She's a crafty bitch. They don't give her this extravagant studio and sit up there, and she's not some crafty bitch. Let's be very clear, everybody. Do you think the politics around this
issue
are
constraining the White House going?
Could be constraining to the White House. Hear it?
This issue are constraining
White
House going into 2024.
Constraining to the White House going into 2024. Because remember, this Israeli lobby is the biggest lobby. Again, the fucking Zionists run everything. So they're saying, like, if Joe Biden doesn't play ball with these stinking murderers, do you think they will fuck up his re-election bid? You see? Because they can do that. So that's what the question was. I need you to understand. That's exactly what the question was. Hear it again, and we'll go on with the rest of the clip.
These days, it's got a super PAC that has spent very heavily in Democratic primaries. You
Against progressives.
You said they're doing
remember, Joe Biden is a Democratic president.
Everything they can to destroy the progressive movement in this country. Do you think the politics around this issue are constraining the White House going into 2024?
the way I look at AIPAC now.
And this was 8 months ago. This is before this bullshit, this imagined attack on Israel on 7th October. He says, the way I look at it is,
their political activities. This is not even just the pro-Israel group. This is a corporate PAC, sometimes getting money from Republicans, sometimes supporting extreme right-wing Republicans. So what really upset me very much is that in many of these primaries, we had great candidates, young people, often people of color, and you had AIPAC and other super PACs spending millions of dollars trying to defeat them. And as you may know, I tried to get the Democratic Party to pass a resolution that in Democratic primaries, super PAC money should not be allowed to be used.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that this is what's constraining the Biden White House right now, the concerns about the politics around this domestically?
Look, bottom line is what constrains any president is we have a corrupt
Domestic
political
politics.
system in which big money plays an enormous role. And right now, you know, if I run for the election, you know, people want to spend, some billionaire wants to spend millions of dollars against me, perfectly legal to do so. That constrains all politics in America.
If you run for re-election to the Senate, so you are considering it?
Sure, I'm considering it.
well, there you have it. Now, at first he said if Joe Biden doesn't run, he would run. Because their biggest nightmare is that Bernie Sanders would run again. That's a nightmare for them. So I'm shocked to hear that answer. Wow. Let me hear that again just so I make sure I didn't mishear it.
You know, people want to spend, some billionaire wants to spend millions of dollars against me, perfectly legal to do so. That constrains all politics in America.
If you run for re-election to the Senate, so you are considering?
Oh, re-election to the Senate. Okay. Slow your roll, Jedi.
Yeah.
Sure, I'm considering it.
Okay. All right. Hope's doused. He's about running for re-election to the Senate because he is Senator Bernie Sanders. Oh, my God. All right. I'll do a summation here, just a short summation, everybody, just to say, the thrust of this has been to show the outright hypocrisy and the collusion of white devils across the waters, from the United States to the shit stain in the desert known as Israel, the illegal land heist, that all people of conscience and righteousness should denounce the state of Israel and anyone who supports it or has anything to do with it. Certainly all Zionists, you should have no love for them. You shouldn't associate with them socially, just nothing. These are devilish, demonic people who get glee out of the murder of innocent people. You've seen their tyrannical ways in some of the pieces I've been able to show you. We will continue with the American hypocrisy and propaganda in our live sitting. Inshallah, that will be hopefully before the week is out. Meanwhile, I implore you to go and watch the documentaries that I cited for you early in the piece. If you didn't write them down as I was laying them out to you, then go back to the beginning of the video and watch and write them down, or whatever you need to do. Watch those, everybody. Watch those, because your heart will be turned completely, but you will be filled with the volume of knowledge that is there. It is unobstructed. It is unedited, really, in many ways. It's pure. The truth lies there. And you owe it to yourself. But you owe it to the living and the dead Palestinian people to know their full struggle and their story and their history. Don't turn a blind eye. You owe it to them. And you will be enriched and indeed blessed by showing true compassion and empathy for other innocent, oppressed human beings upon the earth. For now, the Jedi has spoken.